make sure everything is working.
Yep, no worries. I'm just checking volume and stuff. Alright. Jeez, I'm glad I didn't. I had like 5 decibel gain on my mic.
Yeah, your volume was so loud.
And then yeah, so, okay, so the last couple of, jeez, I think it's been happening for a while, but like, my microphone's just been getting quieter and quieter and quieter. And like, yesterday I was testing it, and it just didn't, there was nothing happening. Like, it was just a bit of static whenever I said anything. So I loaded up, I have this program that I used at some point called Voice Meter, and I loaded it up, and then immediately it just, everything was fixed, and my mic was just fully lighting everything up, and it's like, holy shit. So all this like extra gain and stuff that I've been putting on for the last couple of months has suddenly just
exploded.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so I figure if you want to take it away in terms of how we're going to be going ahead with this.
So this is, wait, I'm hearing I'm hearing myself.
Oh, yeah.
Mic,
yeah, hang on, let me just move my mic a bit so that doesn't happen.
Okay, so this is my first time doing it, obviously, but I've only thought of going over your thread, and like we can just like go like deep into like every point. But if you have like a better idea, I guess we can do that as well.
Sure. So in fairness, the thread like it was a bit rushed, so there's going to be a lot that I'd have to add to that.
Yeah, that's why I
figured... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, all right, yeah, we can definitely start there. Let me grab that thread on my own stream and pop it up on. Is that the one? That's the one. All right. So yeah. So I guess just to lead into it, like, because of course your tweet was basically like, so advocating for zones only for years, and the main thing that I wanted to address in the tweets that I made was the fact that what you said about like not hearing people say anything good about the other modes. And so immediately I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is like, here we go again.
Honestly, like I didn't really think about anything when I tweeted that. I didn't think like people would actually react to it. Like I didn't really think that. I was just like we took a break from like actual scrims, and just I was just playing like single queues and stuff and solo queue.
Yeah.
Then I'm hopping in a real scrim and playing like TC after like 3 weeks of not playing it, and I'm like, wow, like why are we doing this? So I was just saying this, but honestly, like, I didn't really word it perfectly. Like obviously people really like these modes, like some people, but I personally like I've never liked them, so I was just saying my opinion. But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, that was sort of the first mistake, right? Is like putting an opinion on the internet and expecting nobody to.
No, yeah, I usually never do. I usually never tweet anything because of that, because like obviously I'm not like a native English speaker, and some things can be taken wrong, and it's Twitter, so like 240 characters and shit. But yeah.
Yeah, and like I want to stress to mainly the people in both our chats that like I'm not. Like, I completely understand where you're coming from in terms of like I also don't like the way things are set up in terms of, you know, the way, like the approach people have to scrims and all that sort of stuff. And it's just that in my case, I feel like there's too much of an emphasis on zones, and it's sort of like coming back to bite us a bit.
Right.
Which is sort of why I always get a little bit like exasperated with this particular discussion, because it's something that's been floating around for, I think, pretty much since we started fighting Japan back in Splat 1. And it's like I don't think there's ever been a discussion of this nature, like where we actually sit down and talk about it, as opposed to just, you know, slinging shit on Twitter. So
honestly, like, if you really want my like full opinion on it, I think like everything we're doing as a community is like kind of it's like a vicious circle, right? Like I feel like at the end of the day, like nothing is really gonna get done, and it's never gonna like be fixed because like the community is just too small as a whole to really like fix all of our issues. And like I'm not a TO, I'm never gonna host my own tournaments, but I also like obviously I'm just a player, so even if I think zones only is the way to go, if all the TOs think it's not the way to go, then like there's nothing to be done about it, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, like you and every other player does have a lot of. It's not necessarily power, but it's just like it's on everyone to be able to put their thoughts together in a meaningful way that the TOs can then listen to and understand, right? Like, it's the difference between going on the feedback channel and saying, this tournament sucks, versus, like, actually thinking about, like, why did I enjoy this tournament versus why did I, prefer something else.
Well, yeah, I've participated in a lot of tournaments, and, like, I'm always, like, leaving a little feedback, like, over the years. Obviously, some tournaments, like I'm not really familiar with the TOs themselves, but like for example, Sendus tournaments, I've always did like a feedback, and some French tournaments as well. The thing is, with the tournaments, I feel like we have to be like so much to really make a difference. Because if I'm like, you see my tweet, like I'm the only really one saying like we need zones only. People are just saying like, oh no, like it doesn't matter, we've been doing this for years, like who cares, like. So I'm like, okay, like no problem.
Yeah, and that's just not productive, right? Like it's just oh we've always been doing it like this, so why change? It's like no, there's a problem here, right? But yeah, I guess like so I figured just going into sort of my view on it is. I personally think that each mode has quite a lot of merit that I don't think we fully appreciate at the moment. And I think I will say that I do want to see all modes in tournaments, but I also understand that I don't think that it's healthy to leave things the way they are. And I think if we do all modes in tournaments, I think there needs to be more work done in terms of making those other modes more accessible.
So, to answer that, I agree. Like, I think, okay, like my main tweet wasn't to just outright ban like all modes, like forever.
Yep.
Sure, if we want to play all modes in tournaments, sure, that's what we've been doing, and we favor zones in these tournaments as well. I think, like pretty much all the cases. My main point was that obviously like we're not pushing the modes the way they are. Like obviously like TC for example, blasters are good, but nobody's really playing blasters in it. My experience was like just as a player, right? It wasn't as a TO or anything. I was just like nobody in scrims is doing all modes. Like everybody when they're playing on their own, when they're playing like for fun, they're all doing zones, right? So I'm like, why are we just doing all modes in tournaments? Like I've never seen people enjoy it, and you guys, I think people are kind of lying to themselves because in any +1 scrims, nobody's doing all modes. It's just zones, right? So I'm like, why are we just doing zones in like fun scrims, and we're not just doing all modes then? If you guys really enjoy it, like, what's happening there? And Rainmaker is the same. I really think TC and Rainmaker are the two worst modes in the game, like so far. You say they have merits, and I agree. I think like people can excel at these modes. Like for example, Starbusts have been very good in Rainmaker, so like that's a plus for them. But I think Zones is just like the more balanced mode, and I think Clamblitz is also pretty balanced and pretty good. But I don't know, like no one is really pushing the mode in any way, so I'm not really sure like we should include it at all.
Yeah, so like I've got a couple of angles on that, and I think so. What you said about like people sort of lying to themselves or whatever is interesting because I was sort of hesitant on whether I'd put it quite like that, but
yeah,
at the same time,
I'm
but
just
like
gonna
now that
speak
yeah,
my mind on that. But
no. But no, I'm saying it's a good thing, right? Because it's like it. I think because you mentioned like zones being the thing that people go to as like their default mode.
Yeah.
I think that the reason for that, and you can kind of loop Turf War into this as well. I think that the reason for that is because it's not necessarily because the modes are good or bad. It's because of how it's two factors basically. There's sort of the bullshit factor, which is like how often do you lose a game where you know exactly what it was, but like what do we do about it?
Right.
So there are things
Yeah.
like getting cheese and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. And then there's the intuitive factor, which is after a game, can you feel satisfied with the result based on like you can point to one thing that made you lose, or even if it's not necessarily the thing, right? Like you could say, oh, if I'd only won this fight, we would have won, but then like it might not necessarily be true, but it's satisfying for the player, right?
Yeah.
And I think in that order that you've just given, and wherever Turf War fits in, I think you could argue.
Well, I think Turf War is the second best mod in the game, but I think Turf War is just a lowest cause. I think it's a lost cause in the West, so I didn't even talk about it, but I really think it's a good mod right now. But yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I think if we were to just poll the entire community, like which modes should be in a tournament, not necessarily like which modes do you like the most, but which modes should be in tournament, I feel like you'd get a list similar to what you had, like zones at the top, Clan Blitz second, Rainmaker TC probably in that order, but like third, fourth, and then probably Turf War at the bottom. And I think going back to those factors, I think if you like go through each mode, you would get the same order, right? Like zones has probably the least bullshit, and it's also the most intuitive because a lot of the time it's basically like you win a fight and then you take the zone and like did you paint enough? Yeah. Clan Blitz, I think Clan Blitz, most people would say like I hate playing Clan Blitz because in solo queue it's terrible.
Yeah, in solo queue
you
need
I can see exactly, right? Because when you play Clan Blitz, it's very easy to see what's missing when you're playing solo queue, right? Like you can see, if only like I could yell at my fucking ink brush to stop running out and trying to, suicide the basket or whatever. But then I think Rainmaker and Tower Control are modes where you can't just play the game and do well at them. Like Tower Control, I mentioned in the thread here, Tower Control having like a big emphasis on positioning and all that sort of stuff, where if you just fight people and get kills, you don't clear the back of the tower, which means they get jumps back in and they just keep the push going, even if you get them like 2 or 3 down.
Right.
Rainmaker, on the other hand, is like almost the exact opposite, where you can have like one death, and then like 15 seconds later, because of that death, they didn't use specials to kill you or whatever, and now they're set up on your plat with specials, and you might not make that connection in the game of like, because I died in a bad way, now we have to deal with double the amount of specials on our plat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
so
feels
it's
way
harder
more
to
snowbally when you play these modes, basically.
Yeah, so it's like really hard to put together like if you just play the modes, it's sort of like, geez, like we're losing and it just feels really bad. Like I'm not like, there's bullshit in terms of like someone just like put a bubble on the tower or something and we couldn't shoot the tower at the end of the game, so we just lost. Or the tri-strike cheese, or not cheese, or you know what I mean.
Yeah, because like 95% of the people that have answered my my tweet were like, "Oh no, bro, zones is bad. Rainmaker is so fun in my open games," and I'm like the thing is not my point where you have fun. It's more like in tournaments the most balanced things, because personally I really like using blasters and I really like playing TC, right? But I know the mode itself is just not balanced for anyone else, right? That was just my point. I think zones is just like everyone can play the game, everyone can like play together. I think TC Rainmaker and I guess a little bit Clan Blitz, I think it's just way harder and way more random, right? So that was just my main point. That's why I wanted to clear things up with you, because
I'd actually
get my point across.
Yeah, I'd actually agree with you on a lot of what you what you're saying there in terms of like they are harder modes. I just think that it's from my own experience. So my own experience in playing the game is largely like Splat 2, playing against Japanese teams and lots of other stuff. And in Splat 2, especially, like you could go into League and you would fight against like Kurum and his squad, or like Aki, like the Splooshes and all that sort of stuff. And that was like, so for me personally, I probably have the best understanding of Rainmaker out of the 5 modes. Like obviously I've watched a bajillion Zones games, so I'm not.
I'm surprised you know
Kurman,
because this guy has been my low-key goat on S2. Like
dude. Yes, no, Kurman's fantastic. But like, so I can speak best for Rainmaker. Tower Control, look, I mean, Tower Control's iffy. I don't think it's actually the mode. I think it's the maps more than anything else, because there are not very many good TC maps. But the point that I wanted to make, though, is that it isn't random. It feels random up until you sort of understand all the various like ins and outs. And then once all that has been explained to you, or you understand it, or you've figured it out through getting your shit kicked in by Kuruman over and over, it eventually does become something that is very controllable, right? Like the bad deaths thing being something where you recognize, okay, this would be a really bad time to die, so you get the hell out, even though it doesn't actually feel like, if you were playing Zones, it wouldn't feel like a time where you'd have to leave. You'd probably just, shark next to the zone or something like that. And I think, going back to the point that I was making about like all this intuitive sort of stuff and bullshit and whatever, if a community, and I think Splatoon definitely falls into this category, if a community isn't learning the game in terms of like there's no coach, there's not really much in the way of like organized coaching, because there isn't really a second generation of players to coach people. Like there aren't that many 20 late 20s, early 30s kind of players who played the game back in the day. And then
I think the only one is really Fuzzy, but he's not like full-time coaching. It's just like giving out like his opinion and stuff to people because he likes it, but like it's not really coaching. I think that's the only one.
So like that's the kind of thing that creates a kind of infrastructure, like a knowledge infrastructure, right? So without that, then the whole community is going to be learning the game intuitively, which means that all these various parts of Rainmaker, Tower Control, to a lesser degree Clan Blitz, and definitely Turf War, you have to actually sit down and learn, right? Like I remember you were, I think you saw, you tweeted out at some point about like Turf War being a good mode, was like during Koshian, right?
I don't know if I tweeted it because I know like literally nobody agrees, like,
right.
But I really think like, okay, so
I remember seeing that something about you liking Turf War. Anyway,
maybe because I had to learn this mode to play in my national championship and stuff.
Yep.
And I personally hated the mode overall. I also played the mode in S2 when I had to practice for Worlds, and I hated the modes as well. And then Koshin started, and the Cooler meta also started, because there wasn't a Cooler like early Splatoon 3, right? I mean, it wasn't really meta. So Cooler started, Koshin started, I learned the game thanks to them, right, in Turf War.
Yep.
And I thought like the mode was just amazing. Like there isn't too much variety like in terms of weapons, but literally it's like, I think it's the first time in my Splatoon history where I feel like everybody was just doing 25% of the job, right? Like each player 25% of the job.
Right.
And it just felt just amazing, right? Whether it's like reflux, like people think reflux are just like painting missile bots, but actually like you need to slay with
Absolutely not, yeah.
Yeah, you need to actually
especially
slay with
since the missile change.
Yep. Then you have like the Jillies, you have Splash, you have Tri-Slasher, like it's just so advanced, right? And I had to learn the mode, I had to play it, and I really think if you didn't play the mode, you can't understand, right? If you just didn't play it at the high enough level, you just cannot really understand, unfortunately, which is a shame because I honestly think people would love the mode if they really, took a glance at it. If they really wanted to, I think they would love it. But they need someone like Kara, right, to just like put them on, because if like I'm not obviously like I don't have the voice to force people to play Tough War, watch Tough War, but I really think this is a good one for them.
Yeah, I mean, like I had a similar experience with Turf War because I played in 2018 the Nationals and Worlds and whatever, and for me it was sort of like, and admittedly this was Splat 2, it was sort of like I played it for a bit and I was like, oh wow, this is actually really interesting, and then I kept playing it and I'm like, oh, I actually there's nothing, like it's sort of, you sort of hit a ceiling in terms of like
it's very,
how much you can actually do, and then it's just like, and that's it, that's all you got.
Yeah, it's very boring because I think the mode is boring, and I think the only way this is good, and people don't understand that. I think someone quote retweet my tweet that I made and said, oh, you'll wanna copy Japan so bad or something, and I was like, dude, like what are you saying? Like, my point is that Cooler is making the mode amazing, right? It makes the mode from like a 2 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. And people don't understand that. The bad thing about Tough War is like obviously people are just camping for like 2 minutes 30 seconds. If you die, you lose. Okay? With Cooler, you just negate all of that. Literally all of that.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, it's to the point where like Cooler is so important in Turf War that like if you use it 5 seconds too early, you lose the game off it.
Yeah, you
like,
literally have timings, and
that's like it's like why part of why they're using double Cooler now, like
exactly,
so that they can.
And then again, like you have to have a certain level of understanding to do that, right? People obviously like if some Div 8 guy plays Tough War, he's gonna hate it because he doesn't really know what to do in the mode. But if you like, people in Japan, they have to learn with caution, so they're doing it and they enjoy it. I've never seen someone in Japan complain about Tough War, but
to be fair, you won't see people in Japan complain about much.
True, but I see people saying like they dislike. For example, I've seen Kametan, a player in which I played with. He said he disliked clams, for example, and I was like, okay. When I played a tournament with him, but true, I guess people aren't gonna complain about Nintendo's rule set, I guess. And even if they did, I don't think I would find it on Twitter. So yeah, but okay.
Yeah.
I don't know the main point. I don't know if we want to go on thread, like story.
I did want to. Yeah. Sure.
One more thing.
Like I just wanted to bring up Turf though, because I think Turf War, like I think it also has merit as a mode, but I think the main barrier there, and like going into player sentiment and all that sort of stuff as to why we don't play all modes. Why people might not want to play all modes. I think Turf War is like the worst in terms of making it clear why you're losing, because of course everyone hates the whole 30 seconds, which is like, anyone who's, as you say, anyone who's actually played the mode knows that Turf War isn't like that.
Exactly, but I think in S2 it wasn't.
That's the impression.
It was already not like that in S2, or even S3 before Cooler. But with Cooler, even this argument of 30 seconds goes by the window, because you have Cooler again. Like, you're supposed to have a Cooler, you're supposed to play around it, right?
Yeah.
So even this argument for me is not like existing anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, so the whole point that I was getting out there is just, I think a lot of the reason why people as a whole dislike modes is less because of like how do I put it? It's less because of the depth of the mode or anything like that, and more because of how easy it is to access that depth.
I agree.
Yeah. So, and then as for the actual modes, right? Because the main thing that you were asking was like, what are the merits to these modes? And this is sort of where the tweets properly come in. So obviously, I didn't want to spend hours and hours when I was writing the thread like making 17 different tweets for every
yeah,
mode.
that's why I wanted to have you, Nicole, because I knew like
Yeah,
you didn't like sit down and like put a 2-hour thesis on my thread, like obviously, like that's why.
Yeah, it's so. I think if I were to sum up each mode in terms of like what I think each one brings, I think tower control, there is a lot of potential on the maps that don't suck, which is doing a lot of heavy lifting. But
one thing
on the maps that don't suck.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so on the maps that don't suck, TC has a lot of structure to it. I said that it's sort of asymmetric. For those in chat who don't know what that means, it's like in Valorant, how like you've got an attacking side and a defending side, and they have like very different maps. So like the defenders in tower control usually, because the tower takes like a side path around the map. So like you think of Sturgeon, for example. Sturgeon has a huge open area like in mid once the tower goes to the first checkpoint. So that huge area gives the defenders like a lot of room to make their specials, a lot of room to sort of position themselves and sort of angle themselves in on the tower and all that sort of stuff. Meanwhile, the tower players, firstly, they have someone pinned on the tower, which they can obviously get off if they're tethered to it. Then they're also all busting through a single choke point. Now, obviously, they can flank, but the defenders can basically focus all of what they're doing into a single point, whereas the attackers have to spread all their resources out to like deal with the defenders appropriately. So there's a lot of like, and because the mode takes the same path and takes a long time and like a set amount of time for every checkpoint and all that sort of stuff, you can go into the mode knowing very clearly how the game is going to look, and then you can just apply like you look at the enemy team's comp and you say, okay, so here's how they might want to attack, here's how they might want to defend, here's how we got to use our shit to mess with that, right? So it's a lot more structured in a way that the other modes aren't, where you have to actually sit down and think about these things, like how are you going to bust through this, these choke points, all that sort of stuff. And then the nuance in that is things like, okay, well, if you win a fight in a certain place, like when the tower's moving through, so like the sort of an ebb and flow kind of thing, right? Like where the defenders have a big advantage in some parts of the map, attackers have a big advantage in others.
Exactly.
And then if like you can sort of bait the enemy team into fighting at a bad time, or you can focus on like, so say take Inkblot for example. You can sort of try to coax the fight into mid, which is a lot easier to win as an attacker, and then you get the choke point for free, right? Because you've won the fight in mid and they're still respawning, kind of thing.
Yep.
So there's a lot of like planning around that sort of stuff, and I think at the same time, like the mode is very much at the mercy of the map design, more so than any other mode, because of course the tower path is fixed. Like I think Crableg TC, for example, could be completely fine, but they just made the tower go like that. So what the fuck?
Yeah, I was gonna get to that initially, but like I played Alex, for example, today on Scorch, and you will not believe where the first two checkpoints are. Like that makes literally no sense. Like no sense.
And like on Scorch, they don't have like a bridge or anything. It's terrible.
The tower literally goes back for the second checkpoint. Like it gets away from defenders, so you can't really reach it. It's so dumb. Okay.
Yeah, no, but yeah, like it's really really stupid. But I think it's easy. It's definitely easier on tower control to actually point out which maps can just completely suck, because you can actually just look at the overheads and say like, yeah, this map's garbage, this map's garbage, etc.
So the thing is, when I was discussing with Kara about maps on TC, Rainmaker, etc., I was just thinking like, okay, if people are really thinking like all modes are great, why is it that we have like literally 10 viable zones maps and we have like 2 viable TC maps? Why is it that way then? So I was kind of confused about it, and then I just sat there on sendu.inc and I was looking at old layouts, and like literally obviously like a lot of them are just doomed. Like you said, Crableg, like Scorch, just like all of these are just pretty bad. the baskets on the climb list, the Rainmaker checkpoints, like all of it are pretty bad. And you said on the thread, like TC is kind of like defender sided, but I would say the opposite actually. I would really think TC is offender sided most of the time.
Yeah, I think for some reason I have it in my head that you've made a big point about special advantage and tower control, which is why I brought it up in the thread. Like I was like, hang on, I remember Gray saying something about this.
Yeah.
Because to me, like, I think they've increased it. I don't think it was as strong as it is now in Splatoon 1.
Okay, compared to Splatoon 1, maybe.
I think
I'm
in
not
Splat
sure.
1, in Splat 1, it was like 100 points a minute or something like that. It took a long time to get you special.
Oh yeah, I think I wasn't really. I don't think I
I don't
even
know.
knew that you had a special advantage on this one, but.
Yeah, it was very, very small. So whereas in Splat 2, I think it was increased, and I think in this game it might have been increased again, or it was just increased in Splat 2 and it's just been carried over. Either way, I think that mechanic is in the game on the attacker side to make up for the fact that they've got one person pinned to the tower and they have a lot less map to work with. So that's sort of why, like, I think that's why that mechanic is there. However, I also think that some maps don't allow the defenders to make full use of the map, and that means that advantage then becomes runaway snowball kind of stuff.
Yep.
And the other thing is, the defenders like need to very carefully choose their fights, and it's sort of like, to me, it's sort of like in zones, how like if you have all the retake tools, getting the zone is actually really, really easy. Mm-hmm. Like it's really reliable.
Yeah, you can access it.
Yeah, you can expect to, like, if you have all your specials, or you don't even need all your specials in zones a lot of the time. If you have like the right tools, you get the zone. It's almost impossible not to. In tower control, I think it's kind of the same way, where it's just that you need to incorporate positioning and whatnot into that, as opposed to just having the tools and kind of using them, right?
I agree. Actually, I think that's a very underrated aspect of the game. I think a lot of people, they want to feel safe, and they're like, oh, we need to retake. Okay, let's get 4 specials and retake. I think sometimes you just have to play the game and just, like you have a long range weapon, just, okay, claim that space, kill the guy standing there, and then take the space. Then you have a special then, because you kill them, you can paint around them, and like.
Yeah, exactly. You work in the map, right? Like that's
exactly.
That's
how you're just working the map.
Yeah, that's how the game should be, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like if you're just coming out of your base on tower control and like just running straight at the tower, like I said before, you aren't going to be clearing the back of the tower, which means that the last guy on the tower is going to drop back, use the tower for cover. Everyone's going to jump to him.
Yep.
Like that kind of thing. But anyway, the main point though was with TC, I think that the main merit to the mode is, and the thing that it brings that no other mode does, is that kind of structure. Now, that structure doesn't make any sense if you're just playing like casually or like as sort of a hobbyist or whatever, and just like playing the game with random people against random people. It doesn't make much sense to play TC as like in Sendo Q and all that sort of stuff. But I absolutely want to see tower control in tournaments, right? So in a way, I'm kind of saying, like,
as a spectator, or just like you think the mode is made for the players, or you mean like as a spec, like you enjoy seeing people play TC?
I'm not talking about spectator.
Okay,
I'm saying, like, I think that the mode has competitive merit. It brings something to the table that no other mode does, and I think that if we're going to say, okay, the maps are too shit and the mode doesn't really work for such and such reasons, we need to master the mode first, right? I don't think.
Okay. I'll let you finish.
I don't think we have mastered the mode. I think we're far from mastering the mode.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think we have enough teams that properly understand how to play tower control, so that we can 100%. Have a variety of viewpoints and all that sort of stuff.
100%. I agree. Okay, so to follow the thing, I agree 100%. I think, but that's why I don't want to see these modes, right? It's because I think we didn't master them for years, right? We've been playing for years. We practice tournaments with 4 modes in mind. We're never gonna be able to catch up to anything if we keep griefing ourselves playing these 4 modes, right? I think the practice is like split 25, 25, 25, 25. We playing like one map of zone, one map of TC, one map Rainmaker, one map Climate. I think it's very bad for practice, first of all. I think it's very bad for newcomer players, right? Like they have to do 4 modes instead of 1. So that, I think that was like one of my main points. Like, because for me, like obviously, like I know how the stuff works, but I think for like 95% of people, like obviously I've seen on them a tweet, they don't even know like the whole thing, right? And you know, one thing about West as a whole is our community is pretty small. Okay, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen, but there was like a TC tournament a couple days ago in Japan. I think yesterday or 2 days ago. Anyway, um, if you've seen the team comps, it's literally just kind of randomizer, right? Like they're just
Yeah.
playing Squeefer, they're playing everything, and you look at West now, you look at the tournaments, you just see machine, splash, shot. You don't even see blasters.
Yeah.
No, nobody plays
There's
blasters
no-
in TC. Like why? Like nobody
Yeah,
has
like
ever done
there's
that.
no experimentation. There's
There's
no
nothing.
nothing.
There is nothing. Why? Because in practice we have to split ourselves in 25%, and we have to just play the safe way, right? Oh, we don't know what to do, then okay, just pick shot machines up and just play the game, right? It's the same for all modes, but I think TC is by far like the mode where you can literally win with everything. I think you can literally win with everything, but people aren't trying anything. And that's why when I play these modes, I'm like, recently I've been trying to play blasters a lot more. I've been kind of grinding blasters, and I really think it's just so busted. But when I play the mode, the special advantage makes it so dumb sometimes, just so dumb. You just win the first fight, and then as a blaster player, right, I can literally farm my special with the special advantage, and I can have like 2 specials on a push, right? Like I can have 2 special as a blaster. So imagine like a shot, right? A shot can literally have 3 Zukas. Yesterday we played the tournament, Sand's tournament, and I don't know if you've seen like Scar like tweeted.
Yes,
he
I did
tweeted
see
a
that.
clip, and he got like 2 Zukas in a push, like in a single as a squeezer, like 210 special, like two specials. Like this type of stuff happens. It does happen in theory. In theory, it shouldn't really happen. In practice, when you have 4 people coordinated push, like they're painting the space, they're taking space, they're using crab to prevent you from like leaving your spawn.
Leapfrogging and all that. Yep.
Yep. And then they have time. They're getting so much time, and then they are on the position that you need to defend, but they have another 2 specials coming at you. Like this is just a chain of snowball. And Cooler mitigates that a little bit, but since you're a defender, usually they will have 2 coolers when you can only have 1, right? So that's like the most unfair thing. Like when I play TC, I'm really like, dude, this mode, we all suck at it. I've never seen anyone say they enjoy it, and honestly, nobody fucking plays blasters, so like, don't lie to me, right? Like, not you, but like,
no.
Like nobody's playing blaster to enjoy it, right? So you guys are all playing shot machine. Like, stop telling me like that you are a fan of this mod, because you're just not, right? And just please, why are we just playing this mode over and over on the same maps, right? On the same maps every time. It's Mecomart, Inkblot, and whatever. Like, I don't even think there's like a third map. Like, we've played Shipyard for so long. I've always thought it was like a bottom 5 map of all time, but
yeah, it's.
This is my take on TC.
Yeah.
I think defense, has good positions, but again, like the special advantage makes it that you can really mitigate that a lot, especially with Cooler, because you can force trades on these positions. But yeah, this is my take on TC. I'll let you say your thing.
Yeah, it's like I mean, like you said, I saw the clip. It was very funny because it was like it was what was it Mahi TC?
Yeah, we
So it's
picked it
like-
because we were like, okay, like this mode is so bad that we either want to lose in 30 or win in 30, like no matter what.
Yeah,
and we
and
did
it's
win in
like-
30. So.
Yeah, it's like that map just is like I don't give a like for some reason people think the zones version is like somehow goated now. It's like, dude, they've got a bit more space, right? Like they've finally given you like some room to work with in mid, and people are thinking that it's a goated map all of a sudden. It's like,
Yeah,
bro,
I
we used to have more than just space on the edge. We had more space on the edge. So like you could go all the way around if you wanted to, and people wouldn't actually shoot you because they didn't need, anyway.
You want my opinion on Mahi? I think the rework version now is kind of not worse, but it's, I don't know. I don't like it as much, like the new Mahi ones. I don't know. Like before,
it's sort
okay,
of they just added,
but now I don't know.
They just kind of added a bit of extra on the side, and that's it. Like just a bit of extra flat ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going back to the tower control stuff, like what it sounds like to me is that it's not necessarily we're even disagreeing that much on the competitive merit, as it's just that like what it sounds like what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like what you're saying is we're shit and we're not going to get better, so why bother?
That's my main point
why force
on
ourselves?
all modes, pretty much. That's my main argument, and this just comes from me as a player. Again, like just as a player, as an active player, right? As someone who's played so much over the years, I've played since S1. I think we didn't get better, right? In 7 years, I think we didn't change anything. We just got better at players. We didn't get better at TC Rainmaker Clamblitz.
Like people have learned how to like spam their controller better.
Yeah.
But they have not learned how to actually take advantage of the objectives properly.
Yeah, that's my main argument. I may be wrong, right? I may be wrong, but I've never heard any player in I've never heard anyone really, prove me wrong on that. I mean, not prove me wrong, but I've never seen anyone really push the mode, right, to a limit.
Yeah.
Besides Japanese players, obviously like Kurman, FL Rainmaker, or some other player for TC, etc.
I don't think there's that many who are doing it on TC, because in Splat 2, I think Japan was just like Stingray.
Oh my god! Don't get me started on Stingray. Oh my god.
Yeah, no. That to be fair, like if we were having this conversation in Splat 2, I'd probably just be like, yeah, you know what, Ray's a bit fucked.
Dude, Rainmaker, people don't understand, but end of S2, people were spamming double Stingray in Rainmaker TC. And oh my god. Oh, it didn't catch up to West yet. I think I was the only one in West really watching Japanese tournaments, and I was like to my team, dude, go double Stingray. It's so good. It's so good.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was my whole thing was showing Japanese tournaments to people, but like, yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, I mean, like
yeah, I think though it's not like I'm not going to disagree about people being shit. I think where we disagree is on. I think that we should put in the effort, and it will be a lot of effort, because we need resources, and we also need people to actually read the fucking resources or watch them if they're videos or whatever.
Yeah,
and then implement them and whatever.
I think we just agree. Like we have the same opinion. I think you're just optimistic and I'm pessimistic. I think. Like that's,
but I mean that's fine though. Like there's this. It's still valuable to have this discussion, because I think people also. I think it's important for people to understand that regardless, like we have two very different perspectives on the game, right? Mm-hmm. I haven't played competitive in years, and mostly played like against Japanese players back in Splat 2, and I can't even fucking do that in this game, so I'm a bit shit out of luck.
Yeah, I thought you were straight. That was just tragic.
And meanwhile, you've of course been playing at like the top level of the game for years. So like we're both saying the same thing about the modes and the players, right? Like we're agreeing that the players need to figure out, like, get their shit together.
Yeah.
It doesn't like I think if, and this is not to condemn the players, by the way. I think if you're playing the game and you don't want to put the effort in, that's fine. Like it just means that Splatoon is like a hobby for you, right? It means that you're playing the game and you're having fun and you're hanging out with friends, and that's great. That's a really good thing. Keep doing that. It's really healthy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you want to then take an extra step, you have to put a bit of effort into to like understand the modes and fully grasp how to play the modes and like experiment with things and whatever. And that's the thing that I think both of us are saying that people are not doing, right? Me from my perspective watching, you from your perspective playing, like I think if anyone takes anything away from this, it's not like whether, you know, Gray is right or FLC is right. It's get your shit together. Figure out what you actually want out of the game.
And the thing is that people don't want to do that because like the community is so small that we don't have enough like very good players, right? In terms of like percentage, right? So the same people keep winning and just performing. Like even maybe myself, you know, like we keep getting away with it. I think we're getting away with it, honestly.
Yes.
We're getting away by doing shit at the game.
Yeah, it's sort of like there's only like 4 good teams or whatever, so like you guys basically don't get any scrim data. Like I remember back a couple of months ago, like Starburst was like when Starburst was basically winning everything. Like I watched one tournament, I was where they were playing and like they didn't perform all that well, but it just seemed like they had no idea what actually worked because all of their scrims they were just going in and just like shit stomping everyone with mechanics, and then they were like, okay, what do we do with our comps? Yep. Like how do we know whether our comps are working?
Yeah. I mean,
but
that was kind of the point. Like at the end of S2,
yeah.
like I felt like, you know, well, this is like just my own thing. I've never really talked about like this before, but I felt like I was ahead of like the meta in like very end of S2 because as I said, I feel like I was the only active player, like besides obviously like you or like Fuzzy, you know, like just watching it.
Yep.
I felt like I was the only one really watching Japanese tournaments, like Kuroman, like we mentioned. Like I think we're the only two like just really knowing this player. Like we were like I was the only one really watching it. I was like, wow, damn, everybody's using double ray, everybody's using inkjet. Meanwhile on Twitter you see like people are saying inkjet is dog shit, but like people are winning with double inkjet. Like what the fuck? So I was like, damn.
it was really funny. Like, oh yeah, inkjet's fucking terrible, and then every fucking top 10 in the L3 on Rainmaker is like L3D.
Exactly,
like...
exactly. So I was like, damn, what's going on, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna tell to my team to do that, and maybe it works, etc., etc. We go in tournament, we lose because we're just not good enough, right? And Stabas is just like better, but they're not on point on the meta, right? So I feel like I felt like they were getting away with it by being better, right? Which is fair. Like that's a like video game thing, right? But that's an S3 now. Like I feel like nobody besides like Jackpot currently, which I think I agree with the way they're playing Jackpot, but I feel like people aren't really ahead of the meta. People are just, you know, we're just, as I said, we're just playing the game, but we're not really pushing anything, right? We're not really pushing the mode to the limit, to the full extent. The same on Rainmaker and of us too. Like nobody's playing L3, nobody's playing Octobrush, nobody's playing Roller, nobody's playing Blaster. Like, what's going on, right?
Yeah, it's like, and I think part of that does come down to the game itself being very, like Splat 3 in particular being very like fighty. The maps are very narrow. It's very hard to get through them.
Yep.
It's very hard to like if you pick Roller and you don't have a good team around, like it's the same kind of thing, just except we're talking about weapons. Where like if you want to have a Roller on your team, you need to set them up.
True.
Like,
you need to.
You could talk to, like you could talk to someone like Atomic, right? And I know she's done crazy things with Roller and Splat 2. And like you could talk to someone like her and get her opinion on like how do you actually set up a Roller in Splat 3, and or you could just pick shot, not care, farm Yuzuka, and play the same way as you've always done, right?
Yeah, exactly. People just like mentally they just are relaxing too much because exactly, like they don't really want to put in the effort. Nobody really does want to put in the effort because why? Just why would people do that, right? And that's just my main thing. Like, and personally, like, I'm kind of tired of. I tweeted that because I'm kind of tired of suffering myself playing these modes when I know nobody gives a fuck, right? Nobody gives a fuck about the scene. as a whole.
Mm.
And I feel like I'm the only one really. No, I'm not the only one, but I feel like I
There
care
are not
about
many.
it. Yeah, I feel like I kind of care about it, and I feel like not many. This is kind of selfish to say or whatever, but I feel like people don't really care about it, and I'm suffering because not because of them, but I'm suffering as a side effect of them not caring, right? I have to play these dog shit modes because they don't want to argue anything about it, right? That was like my main point, right? But
Yeah.
okay, that was
Yeah,
just
I mean,
my
it's
my personal like individual point of view, but yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely difficult, like because like when you're a competitive player and like you're fighting against people who you know are not approaching the game with anywhere near the same amount of like dedication or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, I'm just beating up on people who don't like.
Yeah.
You know, I'm running a race against nobody. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
because I personally like the game. You know, I've been on and off. I don't know if you like know me very much, but like I've played a lot of different games, like actual esport games. At, like,
I've
a
seen
decent level.
I've seen some of the
And when I just follow the scene on this, people literally like care. They give feedbacks on everything, etc., etc. Like everybody argues. Oh, I agree, I disagree, blah 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 blah. And in this game, I feel like people don't really do that, and I don't know why. I don't know why nobody's really. People don't really have a stance on anything, which is kind of surprising to me. And people don't really have any opinions, any personality about it. And I'm kind of guilty of this as well because I didn't want to put my opinion on Twitter because I didn't want to deal with like mentally with people, just arguing randomly. Like, but I do want to see people talk more about it, which is why like we're here and like we're kind of done with TC now.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
yeah, like it's yeah. So yeah, I think yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll circle back to the discussion on like why people aren't super motivated. I'm sure like people have convinced themselves that money's an issue. But anyway, so I just to continue on with the modes though. So like with Rainmaker, I think Rainmaker and TC kind of go together in terms of like how like what each one brings.
I think they're kind of the opposite, but they're together, right? Like TC is offense, and Rainmaker is just defense a lot. I think.
Yes. Yeah. Like Rainmaker is heavily defender oriented, right? Like you need to know how to defend on Rainmaker, and that means you need to know when to leave mid and like get set up to start chucking bombs and stuff like that. The way you defend on Rainmaker is all about sustainability and being able to like adapt to rotations as they happen, like weather the storm of like specials and whatnot from the enemy team, and then eventually break out and recapture the Rainmaker and all that sort of stuff. And then on top of that, you also have to counterattack off the back of any defense. So it's not just a matter of like chuck bombs and nothing else. It's chuck bombs, sort of posture for a retake, kill the Rainmaker, instantly cross mid, get set up in their base, pop the Rainmaker when you can, and like all that sort of stuff. Meanwhile, I think a lot of Western teams are still thinking that the ballpoint should pick up the Rainmaker, and it's like,
exactly.
Yeah, no, they've got an inkjet. You need them up front.
Yeah, exactly.
Give it to the fucking give it to the fucking I don't know, NZAP, or maybe not even the NZAP. Whoever the fuck has
fuck
like
right? Like
yes, that kind of thing. So it's, and I think with TC being extremely structured, and this is I think we're saying basically the same thing on this. TC is extremely structured. Rainmaker, on the other hand, is much more improvised, but it's improvised in a way that I think is really interesting because it literally comes down to like seconds, right? Like if you start moving forward with the Rainmaker like a second too soon or a second too late, it actually makes a big difference. And it's something that you can totally learn, like exactly when to go in with the Rainmaker, exactly when to start pushing, exactly like when you stop and start taking shots at things. right?
So
You have a lot of control with the objective of like you're going to draw people to you like a fucking magnet, and you have a lot of power with that weapon. On top of the fact that it's like a really strong AOE weapon that you can clear all sorts of shit with and paint a lot with and all that sort of stuff.
I agree. So one of my main thing about why I'm disliking old modes that much is because like historically I've been the one carrying the objective the most in my teams, and I've been getting fucked over by everything, right? TC, Rainmaker, like Stingray, Zuka, everything, right? And in these two modes, right, I'm gonna group them together. You have to carry it. You have to sacrifice yourself. You have to ride the tower. You have to carry the Rainmaker. In zones or clamblets, for instance, you don't have to dedicate yourself to the objective that much. You can play the game, right?
Yep.
And that's why these modes particularly I think are pretty bad, because you have to force yourself to carry the thing. You have to force yourself to play the game a certain way, like in a slow way. In Rainmaker's case, you have to slow yourself down. You obviously there is a lot of skills in like carrying the Rainmaker. Like okay, like as you said, like if you move 1 second too late or too soon, then you might lose or get the lead, or might make a big difference.
Yep.
But in reality, Rainmaker, you have this, which is like very important in the game. As a spec, I think it's Rainmaker. It's maybe sometimes a stalling fest, though. I think people nowadays, probably in West, in Japan maybe too, but I don't think I've seen them play Rainmaker recently. But they push once and then they stall for 5 minutes. And that's what I feel like is happening in 90% of the games of Rainmakers that I've watched so far. And this is why this mode is particularly boring to me. Boring to me as a spec, as a player. And as a player, it's boring and very frustrating because I'm the one picking up the Rainmaker most of the time. I agree, maybe if you're playing a roller, maybe this mode is very fun because you can go around, you can assassinate the Rainmaker a lot of the time. But this mode, you can spam 3 crabs. Like Starburst has been very good on this mode in the past because they're just spamming 3 crabs and Toxic Mist, and they're just sitting back.
I think Kuruman basically quit the game because of that set against Starburst, where they just picked 3 crabs, and Kuruman had his funny comp or whatever, and then like within 2 games he was playing triple crab, and it was just the most miserable thing.
And Rainmaker, I've always said that it was a pretty bad mode even on S2, but it was before I saw the Japanese play Rainmaker, and I was like, damn, this mode is pretty cool. You can run around, do a lot of things. It's kind of like a deathmatch, right? It's still, it's not Splatoon to me. Rainmaker is not Splatoon, but I think it's pretty interesting. It's a pretty different point of view of the game, and I can see why people enjoy it if you play it that way. Then S3, end of S2 now, people are playing double Stingray, so the mode is like utter dog shit. And S3, people are using triple crab bullshit, right? So Rainmaker, I don't know. I think you have some skills to play the mode, but I think the mode is just unbalanced to the point that you can stall the Rainmaker opposite side of the map. You can, just you can't really cheese Rainmaker. I mean, you have Vac or Bubbles, etc., but I wouldn't consider that cheese. But overall, like obviously, if you wipe once, you can lose. So people are probably frustrated a lot by this.
Yeah.
Or contrary, like they love it so much because they get a wipe, they get leads, and GG, right? But yeah, that was my stance on Rainmaker as well.
Yeah, I think actually the stalling was something that I think largely slipped my mind when I was sort of thinking about these things. It's just like I'm just sort of trying to think like the good parts, and I forget. Yeah, but yeah, stalling is absolutely an issue in Rainmaker just because of like there are some issues with the mode, and like things like the no Rainmaker zones like don't work properly, and so like you can die there and it won't reset, and it's like, bro, come on. That said, I think a lot of that comes from because like the stalling aspect of Rainmaker is a double-edged sword, because when you stall,
You're giving
Like
special
obviously,
advantage.
yeah, you're giving a ton of specials, you're giving a ton of map control to work with, and then like that does actually lead to, you know, if you die with the Rainmaker, and it's quite likely that that will happen because of how much space you've given up. It's quite likely that will lead to a counter push in the enemy team's favor, and then. But at the same time, like you have to know how to do that, right? Like if you're getting stalled out, you need to like not tilt and understand like, okay, they're stalling it like, I don't know, on the top right of Undertow, for example, right? Like on the glass thing. Like that's okay, so they're stalling it up there. It's a pain in the ass to actually get up there because the Rainmaker's just gonna pre-fire the whole time. Like it's a pain in the ass to deal with the people who are crossfiring when you do try to get up there. But at the same time, like once you've figured out how to deal with that, then a lot of the stalling stuff like doesn't really work as much anymore. It's only really at the very end of the game where the stalling becomes a huge problem. But then it's the end of the game, right? Like it's at that point you have been losing, so it should be harder. You know what I mean?
I see what you mean, but again, like in theory, I think you're right, like on some points, but yes, you're giving special advantage when you're stalling, but stalling is really only one person, right? Even maybe zero. Like say like you're just dying, right? You're just dying on like bottom left corner of Inglot. Like
Yep.
if you're just dying there, then they don't have special advantage anymore. Your team has time to just paint our plat and like get like specials.
They would still have special because they're losing, but yes.
Oh, okay, my bad. But yeah, like they will, pick up the rain, and then the special advantage now is to your team, and they have to cross the entire map to get to the only path where they can, get the lead and stuff. It's very boring to me. It's just very boring, just very frustrating. And again, it's the same as TC. I feel like nobody's mastering the mode. It's just, like, okay, we're just better as a team, but we're not better in Rainmaker, right? Type of stuff, which is very annoying to me.
Yeah, and it's like, again, like I could say things like, well, if the enemy team's stalling, there are ways to handle the stall that don't leave you in that situation, right? So, for example, if the enemy team is in a no Rainmaker zone, you don't kill it there. You have to let it time out because otherwise it doesn't reset.
Mm-hmm.
If they're behind the 0 mark, like if they're behind the 0 mark, yeah. Shit, I don't remember. Anyway, like there's other ways to get the Rainmaker to reset if they're stalling it, right? You don't just like use a special on the fucking Rainmaker in the corner. You use a special to kill their team. You don't kill the fucking Rainmaker when they're stalling. You kill the team first. That's like one of the things with Rainmaker stalling is they're usually off to the side, right? So you have a lot more access to the team, kind of like in tower control, right? Like there's ways around it. But at the same time, I do understand very much where you're coming from in terms of just like, especially because personally I quite like playing Rainmaker as the Rainmaker or the guy standing on the tower or whatever. Just because of the control it gives me over like what the enemy team does. Like I can just sort of move a little bit and like make this guy run at me, but then I know he's going to do that, so I'm like getting ready to shoot him kind of thing. I find that quite fun. But at the same time, like I do understand very much like sometimes you pick up the Rainmaker and you're like, yeah, okay, here we go again.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly. Like, it just feels like a core shores. Like it just feels so annoying to pick up the Rainmaker sometimes. Obviously, like you have control over the game. Like you can shoot a lot of people, but the game is just so fast, and people are just like they're just spamming specials on you. They're just I don't know. The whole mode is just slow, right? I feel like I couldn't understand people having fun on TC where it's like very fast and you can push a lot and you can jump, etc., etc. But Rainmaker for me is just slow. Like just a lot of bombs, a lot of specials. And this is why I don't really think we should be playing the mode. I feel like there are a lot of maps where you can kind of cheese by camping it like opposite side, even in non-Rainmaker free zone, right? Like bottom left Inglot, you don't have a delayed timer, right? It's like a normal part of the map, and you can stall there, which is so stupid, right? But again, and again,
Yeah.
like in Rainmaker, just try to find me like 5 good maps. Like there aren't so many good maps in Rainmaker, which is again like I think a sign to me that the mode isn't really good. I think it's more like a deathmatch, and again, this is not how I see Splatoon personally. I can see why people like it, and I feel like most top active comp players, I've never seen people say they like the mode, and that's why again I don't understand why we're playing it. I'm not saying we shouldn't play. I just don't understand why people aren't saying anything about it.
Yeah, because like, and going back to what we were talking about earlier, I think what's sort of happening is, if we're going to play all modes, something has to change, or we just don't play all modes. The current status quo of most of us don't like playing all modes, and yet we're still playing it, and we're not really practicing it well, and whatever.
Yes.
Is a problem no matter what.
Yes,
right?
and since I feel like nothing is gonna change ever, even in 5 years we're gonna check back, right? And I feel like nothing is gonna change. I feel like we should be better off just not doing all modes. Like nothing is gonna change, guys. Just stop. The only thing I can hear about all modes is just like official Nintendo tournaments that are all modes, right? But like it happens like twice a year, and frankly, like you have time to.
I mean, they're joke tournaments anyway for the most part. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you guys in Europe actually. Yeah. Oh yeah. Fuck.
Yes.
I think in Europe at least you guys have got some more competition throughout the year. Like with your regionals. I know there's issues with that in itself.
In France, yeah, but in any other European countries, no.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Clan Blitz. I actually have the least to say about Clan Blitz because to me, I actually think Clan Blitz is the worst. It's only been in 2 games, but I think the 8 clams thing has kind of fucked Clan Blitz. Okay. I think
I've never heard people say anything about it. That's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where people like recognize that it's changed, but they don't really know what to think about it. I think what I'll say about CB, and I don't mean this as like a point in the or anything, but like I think a lot of the cheese stuff in Clan Blitz is like a combination of crack and cooler, because in Splat 2 you had baller cheese, right? And obviously baller is not invincible, and that's a big difference in itself. But the other thing was, if the enemy team stood there making power clams, they were losing a lot of their scoring potential compared to normal, because the power clams were worth a lot less relative to just normal clams, right? Whereas now, if you have a pile of 7 clams, that's 21 points. If you have a power clam, it's 20, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, like, and obviously, yes, if people have 4 clams split between them, that's 24, but it's still like, there is a big difference in Splat 2 between a power clam and just chucking a bunch of power clams in, versus having a proper, like, push where you get the opportunity to throw small clams in. And on top of that, in Splat 2, the counterplay to if you do get baller cheesed was they've just fucking all died. You get the map for free.
Yep.
Right? But in this game, you've got cooler. So it doesn't matter.
Yep.
And not only that, but the cooler makes the jumps basically instant, so you don't even get to bomb the fuckers. They actually kind of live sometimes.
That's
so
stupid.
So yeah, Clan Blitz at the moment has a big issue in terms of that. And I think that's
my point. I'll let you finish. Sorry.
So the point I'm making there is not so much like don't play Clan Blitz because there's cheese, because of course there's cheese in every mode. And in fact, the reason I brought up the whole zone cheese and whatever thing is not to say, one cheese is better than the other. It's like, you can't dismiss a mode just purely on cheese unless it gets like when I'm asking, like, how is crack and cheese worse than zone cheese? I'm literally asking, like, can you people actually tell me why it's worse?
I can tell you.
And I'm sure you can. Yes. So I'm sure you can.
First of all, I think Clan Blitz, if we had to play it in tournaments, I would be fine with it. It's just like, I think, just like purely speaking, I think we're just better off playing like one mode, focusing one mode, you know, like mentally, like just thinking, oh, we only have to play one mode instead of two. Right?
Yep.
So Clan Blitz historically has been the least pushed modes, like even S2, S3, right? Nobody's really playing the modes, even in X rank leaderboards, like people have the lowest XP in the Clan Blitz all the time.
Yeah, and that's partly a solo queue thing as well, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And so the mode for me is fine. Honestly, I didn't really think much of Crack and Cheese, because I've you know, I didn't really play in like Western tournaments. I didn't really get. I only got cheese like once, right? And I've had people try it before on me. Like yesterday, in the tournament, kids were playing like 96 Crack and Cheese, and they didn't even do that once. But,
yes. Yeah, I have the same experience as well. Like, it's people do it, and then they just don't actually get the crack into the fucking objective.
Exactly. Yeah. So I learned Crack and Cheese existed thanks to Twitter, basically.
Yep.
So, you're asking how is Crack and Cheese worse than Zone Cheese, and the answer is very simple. First of all, the way the scoring works, right? If you score 3 power climbs with the Crack and Cheese, or 1 or 2, it's a timer, right? It's not a timer, it's score, right? If you score 2 power climbs, it's 60. I mean, it's 40, but it goes down to 60. If you so the Zone Cheese you're talking about is like Reef Slider, right?
Yep.
So if you use Reef Slider on Mac,
Zones Cheese, Reef Slider, you just fucking die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was my point. Like, if you just Reef Slider Zone, literally 99% of the case, you're just gonna die, right? Even if you cool it doesn't matter. And if you get the cheese off, you're just gonna stop the timer. You're not gonna add points to the timer. You're gonna just, I mean, you're not gonna get points by cheesing the zone. You're just gonna reset the timer because you're gonna die in zone most of the time, like 99% of the case, and then your team is like 3v4. So the Kraken cheese for me is way worse than zone cheese. First of all, Kraken is just like the worst special ever designed. First of all,
I agree. And
Reef Slider is a dog shit special, right? So first of all, the difference is massive. And again, like Kraken cheese, it's also on like a stronger weapon, 96, and you know, Reef Slider is only like on kind of mid weapons, like Splat, Arrow Spray, etc. So even like outside of it,
it's on Tetra. Really... Tetra's fun.
Yeah,
it's shit at the moment, but
I really like Tetra, you know, but like it doesn't play. Like it's the only weapon that doesn't really play for Reef Slider, right? Like if you're playing Tetra as a Reef Slider cheese, then I don't know like what to tell you. But anyway. my point was that Kraken cheese is way worse overall, because like the special is stronger, the score, I mean the points mechanics are way different, and that was just my main point. Obviously, I don't want to ban Clan Blitz because of the Kraken cheese, because I don't think it's like, I think it's very stupid when it happens. But I don't think it happens like every game, like 100%.
Yeah.
Right?
If you play super hard for it, like a bunch of things need to happen. Like the enemy team needs to basically give you a bunch of free power clams. Like usually Kraken cheese is at its worst.
Usually you fucked up before, right? So
yeah, exactly, right. Which goes back to what I was saying before about like the intuitive sort of factor of each of these modes. Like people get cheese in Clan Blitz and they don't realize how complicit they are in that cheese, right? Like if you've made like a bunch of failed pushes where you just get the power clam in and maybe like 1 or 2 small clams and that's it, you're asking to be Kraken cheesed because you're giving them an extra power clam.
That's exactly. I was playing a tournament with the AR like a couple months ago. And like game starts, right? I was like coming back from break. Game starts, and they're playing 96 and stuff. And my teammate goes, "Oh, they're gonna Kraken cheese and stuff." And I'm like, "You just don't let it happen. Then just play mid, play heavy forward. Just don't sit back, right?"
Yep.
Eventually, we got Kraken cheese, and I was like, "Dude, it's just because we wiped like 2 times, right? That's the only thing." And then, you know, next game,
like if they had
Clan Blitz wouldn't
like if
cheat.
they had Booyah Crab or something, they would be able to just push normally.
Exactly.
Right,
Yeah,
and instead they're getting themselves killed doing Kraken cheese. It's like sometimes, especially in Splat 2, that was how it was with Baller. It's like, okay, they're Baller cheese, but they could have fucking like
could have done anything
used
else.
ray
It's just, like, the
missiles.
easy
They
way
could have
out.
used ray missiles and fucked us completely and had us spawn camped. But instead, they Baller cheese. Like, bro, it's yeah. No, like I said, but the whole Kraken cheese thing, like I wasn't specifically trying to say that's a
yeah. But and even then, like Kraken,
yeah.
Kraken, you can kill people and chase people trying to stop you. Riftsetter, Riftsetter, you use it, you're dead. Kraken, you can literally kill people on your way in and on your way out. Like, so the people that are jumping to you, they can
actually live.
Yeah, they actually live.
It's so stupid.
Like, this is just
it's so fucking
dumb.
stupid. This special, like.
And I remember, like first day Kraken went out, you could have a power clam with your Kraken. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. I mean, yeah, like I don't know. They just get this fucking special out again. Like, why did they made it worse? They made it fucking worse.
Exactly.
They let you fucking charge with it, so you don't even get fucking pushed. Anyway, that's all. That's all sort of beside the point.
Yeah. So my main point with Clan Blitz is, as I said with the other modes, we're not pushing TC, we're not pushing Rainmaker. It's been 8 years. It's been released. We're never pushing them. So this is not gonna happen with Clan Blitz. And I think it's the most obscure mode right now, like even in Japan. And so I'm like, it's never gonna happen. I think the mode is great. I enjoy playing it. But I don't think it's worth for us to put time into it. That was my main argument for Clan Blitz. I think it's a great mode, whereas TC Rainmaker I think are shit modes, and we don't put time into it. But Clan Blitz, I'm okay with it, but I don't think we should waste our time with it.
And it's also like, as you said as well, it's like if you're gonna have an extra mode, like go zones Clan Blitz for example, it's like that starts to feel a bit weird. Yeah,
because it's also different strategies, right? You can't. I mean, Clan Blitz, you have a lot of weapon diversity naturally, but also, again, like for newer teams, you have to say, I'm a Hydra player and I really like playing zones, right? And then they're like, we also have to play Clan Blitz, and this is where it gets fucked up. Because I'm not talking only about me. I'm trying to just see that for everyone, like overall, like tournaments.
Yeah, and that's sort of where I want to go with this, talking about Clan Blitz, because for me, actually, Clan Blitz is, I would say that it's a good stepping stone to TC Rainmaker. I actually think that Clan Blitz is easier than TC Rainmaker because the objective is more face up. It's more
the way
obvious.
the objective is played, like you literally, you can just play the game, like overall, like
Yeah, like it's very obvious what you have to do. It's very obvious what you're lacking if there is a problem. Like it has the intuitive factor that Zones has, but TC Rainmaker don't. Where a lot of the time, like yes, there are definitely times where like if you keep going in and like just scoring power clams and doing nothing else, then you're just going to lose because you're just going to give the enemy team like 3 power clams, and then they can do whatever they want with them. But aside from that, there's a lot more just like. There are clams around the map. Like, yes, you can go into fucking, like, manipulating spawns and shit, which doesn't even work that well in this game.
No one really does that.
Nobody's doing that in this game with the fucking 3 clam drops instead of 4. Like, it's just not worth it. So there's a lot of like, it's very clear how you can improve in Clan Blitz. And I think... Also, as you said, like I think a fair amount of things can work on Clan Blitz, and like there's less sort of specialization. Like you can sort of specialize a little bit in terms of like using blasters and all that sort of stuff, but it's a lot more sort of normal gameplay just because so much of it is taking map control and converting that into clams, into scoring, and so on. But what I wanted to go into there was the fact that I think Clan Blitz is a good stepping stone, and this is the point that I want to make about zones versus all modes, which is I think that as I've said, I agree with most of what you're saying in terms of like the game as like zones being the mode that's just easiest to play. Like people aren't going to push the other modes, so and they have to actually enjoy the other modes. And I think that what I would like to see is zones as like the starting point, because maybe you don't because you've been like able to pick your own teammates for so long, but like one of the big issues that players have when they're sort of coming up is finding teammates. And of course, if you're trying to find a team, they need to be people who share like your goals, basically. Like they need to have the same outlook on the game as you,
Yes.
because otherwise that creates friction and leads to, you know, your typical disbands. You need to like all have like you basically need to find people who you gel with, whatever that happens to mean for you. And I think that zones, like doing zones only, is perfect for that kind of thing, because it allows you to just play the game without really being too
and
organized.
I wanted to say, like, as one thing to that is, I think in zones, you can, you know, you can play the game how you want to play, right? You don't have a fixed route, whatever that's called. For example, like, okay, Mechamart, you can just win zones by just, okay, oh, my strat is to go far left and flank and etc. In Rainmaker, you can't really do that. TC, you can't really do that. Clamblitz, you can kind of do that, but not really. Like, I think zones, as you said, it's a lot of fundamentals, and it's just the most Splatoon mode to me. It's like where you should all start, and I think we should just keep going into that direction. But yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So for me, like I see zones as a perfect place to figure out your team, figure out what you want out of the game, like play, experiment, whatever. Because I mean, you can when you're scrimming, and if you take zones like a little bit less seriously, you might feel more inclined to do things like pick Blaster just to see how it feels. Like it's not going to be amazing in zones, but you can still play it.
Yes.
Right? Like you're not gonna necessarily win the games, but you like who fucking cares about winning scrims? Like you don't need to. I guess to be fair, +3 voters might, but you can just pick stuff. You can just do stuff, and like you're fighting for the most part, right? Like you fight, and then you get the objective. Like it doesn't like you don't have to worry about your position. Like yes, you do, but like you don't have to fight in a specific way to the map. Like to make sure that you clear the tower, for example, you just kill the enemy team, take the zone, stand in front of it, right? It's very, very straightforward.
Yep. One thing I want to add to that is that 95% of people, maybe like in the stream, but 95% of people that are arguing against zones only are saying the opposite. They're saying, oh, but zones, we just have to stand behind it and paint it, which is like not the case. But I just want to point that out because, like you just said, we have to stand in front of it, which is what you need to do, right? But people don't understand that.
And like another thing with zones that's really good for learning is the fact that like when you stand in front of it, you don't just like all fucking pile up in front of the zone. You have to actually have people sort of spread out like along the wings to make sure they don't fucking get caught in the 70 bajillion specials that are going to be thrown at the zone. Like there's all sorts of things that you learn pretty quickly playing zones, and a lot of it's intuitive. However, what I think is that should be the starting point. And to get, and this is where I've got to sort of step in and actually get my shit together myself, is to get from doing zones to actually having all modes feel like a reasonable thing. I think there needs to be a lot of resources to basically explain how to execute on all the things that we've just been talking about that people can't do, right? How do you defend properly on tower control? How do you like talk to your team and figure out how to defend properly on tower control? How do you play on Rainmaker? How do you understand the timings and all that sort of stuff?
And I think it's great for like most of the community. My pessimistic approach tells me that current top players aren't doing it, right? They're just not doing it, and that's why I'm like just so inclined against all modes, because I think sure for new players you need to have a lot of resources, but the players that have been playing this game for so long and they've never changed their habits, right? Yeah.
I understand that. I'm sort of going into this like I've been sort of trying to figure out like how the hell do I teach people this game? That's basically what I've been trying to figure out for the last like 7 years or so. Because like I've tried a couple of things and it's like sort of worked but mostly hasn't, and it's like it's all down to like how the fuck do I, because okay, the top players are the ones who actually like have the like they're just going to skill diff everyone, like doesn't matter what strategies they use or anything
Exactly,
like that.
Yeah, which is so annoying, right? When you think about it. But
And so like I could teach people the game, but then people have to listen, and if they don't listen, well, like I can teach people like I need to either teach the people who listen how to spam their controller, or I need to somehow get the people who can spam their controller to listen. And it's like
that's
how the
whole
fuck
dilemma,
do I
right? Because you have some very smart people, but they are just just not good like at spamming controller, as you said, and contrary, like you have people very good at the game, but they're just kind of dumb, right? And that's that's like my whole point again. Like
so
I just feel very disconnected from that personally.
So like I think for me I have a degree of optimism about that, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first is like I've done a fair amount of coaching in the past, and a lot of the people like especially like in the Australian scene, less so the coaching but more just like the players I've been playing with.
Yes.
And I've been able to sort of like we played like I didn't play against Kuruman myself, right? Like we all sat down and learned the mode together, right? And I think that has led to like a pretty dramatic increase in quality for some of these players, who many of whom started out like not really being all that good in X rank, like 2000 X power kind of thing. And many of them have since become very, very good players, partly because they're playing like a lot and competing and all that sort of stuff, but also because they're able to use the knowledge that they've gained from like playing against Kuruman and all that sort of stuff. And I think there are more players like that who are out there who are able to do that, like who are able to make the sort of steps forward. But for that, I think we need to be more inclusive as a community, right? And for that, like inclusiveness, I think it's a really important thing to have like guides and resources and whatnot to help basically anyone who can be good to be good for a start.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And like then, okay, we've got some people in the competitive scene who don't give a fuck. Many of them will be motivated to actually give a fuck if they start losing to people who very clearly do like have put the effort into learning.
Exactly, right? Because everybody now is so maybe I'm guilty of this as well, but everybody's so high up, like they haven't lost in years. They've been top players since S1. Like they don't give a fuck, right? They know all the fundamentals, everything. But these people, they're never gonna look look deeper into the thing, right? So that's why you need resources, and I think also like that's why you need like zones only first to start, because people that want to get into it, sure, you can have resources for Rainmaker, TC, everything, but I feel like they will get better faster with the zones only thing, right?
Yeah, and I actually agree with that. I agree with that completely, because I think, like I said, zones only is the perfect way to get acclimated to your teammates. It's a perfect way to just play the game more often, right? Because like part of how do you learn how to spam your controller? You have to do repetitions. You have to do lots and lots of games, right?
And also,
again, inclusiveness.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. You go ahead. Go ahead.
One thing I want to say about zones only, it's because I said zones only because I think that's like the best mode, right? But if people want to play all modes, I'm fine with that. But I think if people want to play also TC only for like one tournament, or Rainmaker only for one tournament, or Clements only for one tournament, I'm fine with it as well. I think we should just focus on one mode for the practice, for other teams as well. Like people who may want to enter like Clements only with like their 10th in-brush team, right? If it's all modes, these people are not gonna show up, Like, That's my main thing. I said
That's
zones only.
that's
but
actually
yeah.
yeah, that's actually a really good point. Like the and maybe there's something there in terms of like there's work to be done in terms of getting the community up to a playing standard where we can actually play all modes. Like I think it's true at the moment that playing all modes is, I wouldn't say griefing, but it's definitely like we're kind of being a bit too optimistic in just expecting that everyone's going to be good at all modes like straight away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and
personally,
what
I've
you're
thought it
saying
was
about
griefing
like
for a long time, but I agree with you.
yeah. What I think would be really good, and as you've said, is like yeah, if you do the like to get people into doing all modes, you can have these like one-off tournaments, and do like you'd have to do them pretty regularly, of course, but like these one-off tournaments where yes, you do actually prepare for just one mode.
Yeah, I think that's just so great. Like looking forward to it, you know. Oh, okay, this week we have TC. Okay, TC tournament. Okay, let's just play like three scrims like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let's play TC only, and let's see what works. You know, what comp. Maybe we can play around blasters and stuff. If you have to prepare for all modes,
let's pick 4 range blasters all at once.
Exactly.
And just,
go.
Exactly.
Try it.
Yeah. So like, and to me, I think that should be. But I think the crucial thing for me is that needs to be treated as like stepping stones, right? We need to be working towards eventually seeing all modes, perhaps including Turf War, as
I wish, but I don't think it's ever happened.
I think that ship may have sailed. But the like, if we can work towards all modes as like the end goal, where like, and this is like one of the reasons why I don't. Like why I'm making a point of sort of debating this is I think if we just go straight into zones only, it's very likely that people are going to immediately write off the other modes. They're just going to be like, "No, these modes are shit. We're never going to play them."
Okay.
Right? Like they're going to sort of like they're going to sort of just I don't know, capitulate. That's not really the right word, but like they're just going to succumb to their sure, they're just going to give up. They're just going to be like, all right, great, we don't have to do this anymore. Great, perfect, never touch these modes again. And I think that's kind of firstly a complete waste, both of like because imagine let's say we start getting new players sort of up through various resources or whatever. There's a difference between them coming into a community that is like, okay, we play zones only, but like we do want to sort of get better at all modes, versus a community that is, okay, we play zones only and all the other modes are shit.
Okay, I see what you mean, and that's kind of like my main issue that I shouldn't have done, and like that's my mistake. I mean, I said zones only because I didn't really put much thought into my tweet, obviously. But I think the norm,
fair enough,
the standard that the community should do is zones only. I don't think we should give up on the modes, as much as I hate them. I don't think we should give up on them, right? For sure.
Yeah.
Like I can agree with you, and like I should have said that from the start, because like 95% of people are like, oh no, dude, I want to play Rainmaker, I love it, bro. I'm gonna quit comp scene if we ban TC, right? And I'm like, I don't want to give up on it. I don't want to ban anything. I'm just like, okay, there's this tournament. I think the best thing for like a regular tournament is zones only. I think that's the best thing. Now, if you want to have this tournament like one time, like one time every 3 weeks, that is TC only, then sure. But I think most tournaments should be TC only, then you can add all modes. Zones only, and then you can add like all modes or other modes or whatever you want, really. But I don't think we should give up. You're right. I don't think we should give up on it, for sure.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring up, so Shara's said zones preferred, smiley face in my chat. And I actually... So the thing I have with zones preferred is that it's kind of a half measure. Like, it doesn't really fix any of the problems that
I agree.
either of us have brought up here.
Yeah, that's what people told me, because like the like 25% of the tournament is signing up to it, right? And people are just they're gonna see all modes and they're gonna think that they should practice all modes. Even if you play, 75% of zones, which is not the case. It's more like I don't know, like 50% of zone and like 58%
Yeah,
of
50
other
sounds right.
zones.
Yeah.
They're gonna need to practice TC and Rainmaker and Climate. It's a half measure, which is like the best of both worlds, I guess. Like you can't really do anything better.
And
but
on top of that, it's like doing it half measure also makes the practice on the other modes feel worse, because it's like
because
we're
they're
going
like,
to play
oh,
mostly
we don't-
zones,
yeah, we
so
don't-
why
we
the
don't
fuck
care
do we
about
bother
it.
with tower control?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So
You
like
can't really
it
satisfy
seems
everyone, but
yeah, like and that's sort of, and I think that's something. Yeah, so someone's just said, Unconcerned Salad has just said 2-mode tournaments. I think that's fine, right? Because you would imply 50-50 there, right? Like, it would be, you've got your zones and you got your Clan Blitz, or you got your TC Rainmaker or whatever, right? Like,
why not just one at that point, Like that, like, just,
right,
why not just one then? Like,
and again, like, that would
so
just,
much,
that would,
like, I don't know.
that would be a sort of stepping stone thing again, right? Like, where, okay, maybe we want to start making steps toward you play more than one mode at a time, so that you have to actually get used to switching between them and not just being hard focused on one then hard focused on the next.
Yeah, but that's why
so
maybe like one week you just focus on one mode with the tournament that comes with it. Then you can
to begin with, for sure. Yeah, so like I think and just going back to the inclusivity aspect of it as well, I think it's really important that like, as you said, like there's players who I think are really, really good at, like there's teams who would love to run 10 ink brush or whatever on Clan Blitz, and I think inclusivity, like that sort of stuff, like having single mode tournaments, but with the goal of eventually getting further, is inherently inclusive, because that means that, okay, well, that team who did really well with 10 Inkbrush might feel inclined to then, okay, well, Clan Blitz is off the menu for a little bit, so now it's Rainmaker or whatever. And they, hey, we did really well at Clans, let's figure out something cool to do in Rainmaker, right? So, but the other thing is, I think one of the things that TOs have long been guilty of is they keep trying to fucking please everyone.
Exactly.
And it's like,
exactly, and
it's like,
I can't really say anything about it, because like you gotta have people sign up to your tournaments, and you gotta have people be happy, like on Twitch streams and stuff.
Yeah, it's like,
it's
sort of easy for us to say because we aren't TOs, and obviously like we don't get fucking
to them if it's
we don't get roasted in the feedback channel and whatever. Like, it's better, rather than trying to please everyone, it's better to have a clear vision of what you want your tournaments to be. And I think this is part of the reason why Low Ink is so successful, is because they basically just said, fuck top players. Here's a tournament for like new teams, right?
Yep.
Like, they have a clear idea of what they're doing. And that kind of clear vision is what you need in anything. It's not just a TO thing.
And
like
in other games, in like more esport games, it's the opposite, right? I don't think I've talked about it on Twitter, but obviously like Splatoon, it's actually more focused on like lower skilled players. I mean, like Low Ink and stuff like that, and people trying to please like everyone. But like on other games, it's the opposite. Like, there is no tournament on Valorant trying to please gold player, right? It's only like, kind of
it's sort of
top player, right? On Valorant,
and the tournaments exist, but they're like sort of take it or leave it, and they're marketed toward those players.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
like, and there's like the Premier system in Valorant as well. So like overall, I think what we need to have zones only become like fully viable is for basically, like, I'm asking a lot, because I'm basically saying, okay, firstly, we need to have a dramatic culture shift where people stop fucking excluding people on the basis of what they perceive to be skill, which isn't actually skill, they just think it is. We also need to like teach people the other modes in a way where they can like not fucking theory craft bullshit, but actual practical advice that they can implement and that leads to them growing as players. We need TOs to be on board, and to have their own ideas of what to do, and like to basically have the willpower to not just like do the same thing over and over because it's the least.
It's a lot of things to ask, but yeah, it's
there's a lot of things, but I think it's possible.
Yep.
I think it's possible.
I mean, Splatoon is like a scene made by us, right? I mean, not.
Yeah.
It's not Nintendo, right? We have the power to change things, to try things, right? Which we can just try one time. If it doesn't work, then go back to, original thing. It's not gonna kill the scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's sort of why I brought up all this stuff about coming back to those tweets that we were originally talking about. That's why I brought up Japan so much, is because that's sort of how it works in Japan. Is primarily like if you want to play with good players in Japan, all you do is get a high X power, and I say that all you do, but genuinely, like in Japan, there are entire fucking wikis where you just go on and you just like look at, here's a wiki for this map, here's a wiki for like a wiki page for this map, and like how do you play this? And there's like all these fucking different sites where people just have these blogs and they just post stuff, and they're just like, I'm a roller player. Did you know that the best way to win as a roller is to make the enemy team really fucking angry? Like that's a guide that exists. There's like all this stuff. There's all this stuff, right? And it's just people posting shit. And it's not that they're not like trying to hold it over other people. They're not trying to like lord their knowledge like some kind of fucking... No, they're just saying like, hey, I think this is cool. This is how I play. Take it or leave it. And that's like, that's how you can make these things as sort of a grassroots thing. Like personally, what I'm trying to do is sort of come up with a bunch of like resources that people can use to learn the game themselves, and then what I'd like to see is for people to do the same kind of thing, where they actually come up with their own their own ideas, their own play styles, whatever, and then they fucking share it, as opposed to just being like... And yes, obviously, like once you're a top level competitive team and you actually have like strategies that are interesting, and you can like, there is value in figuring stuff out and then keeping it, and then like sort of thinking about it and then like testing it behind closed doors kind of thing, by all means. But in terms of just getting people to a level where they're good at the game,
well, I'm telling you that's not the case. Like nobody has high enough strategy anyway, so like
so and again, like and that's why, like, I'm not indicting the competitive scene, and neither should anybody else. I'm not saying that people like our scene is shit because we don't do this. I'm saying that Japanese Splatoon is the way it is because players have worked their way up. It's very inclusive. People are always sharing their knowledge, and over the years, that knowledge has accumulated, and then has been shared with other people who are coming afterwards. Like, and that then is leading to these people like having their own ideas about the game and sharing it with people, and feeling safe in the idea that they can post a YouTube video talking about random shit about the game, and they're not going to get flamed for it.
Exactly. Okay, so I just want to add like something quick. Like my first videos on YouTube, like ever, it was like an analysis of like YouTube. I mean, of my sets I've did like in competitive, and I've always been like enjoying sharing my knowledge, etc. and stuff, but I just felt like people didn't care, like people didn't care, didn't bother anyway, and didn't really like I don't know if people really cared about it anyway,
Yeah, I think people, I mean, you see this all the fucking time on like Twitter and all that sort of stuff. It's always I feel like it's always the kids who are just like, who can't get over the fact that they're playing a game that is ostensibly marketed toward younger people. It's not even a kid's game, it's a teen's game for a start. But like people are just like, nah, it's actually really lame to try hard at this because it's a kid's game, and it's like, bro.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, like under my thread, people are just telling me like various.
Bro, it's a kid's game. Why do you care?
Yeah, like exactly. Like people are just saying, and that's why like people don't really want to share their opinions, right? Because people are just like memeing on you and stuff. Like I
Yeah,
mean, people, even top
there's
players,
so much dismissiveness.
like, even top players, even people knowledgeable about that stuff, just kind of joke about it like all the time, like under my tweet and stuff. So I was like, I was just really confused, like the whole reaction of people about this tweet. But I mean, it extends on like other stuff, obviously. But going back to the Japan thing, I think you're right about it. I think it's amazing that people are putting out resources. I just feel like it's up to people now, like exploiting this resource, right? And I don't know if it's gonna be the case in West. Like if people are, I mean, not in West, but in in our community, I don't know if people are gonna be motivated enough to push it. I don't know if people are then gonna be motivated to make these guides, because again, like the scene is just so small that people don't really care as much.
I think. See, the reason I'm sort of optimistic about that is because I think anyone who competes at the game, especially at a high level, has that sort of passion for the game somewhere.
For sure, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like
they
might not be like they might be a bit jaded at this point because the game's perhaps had some issues or whatever. But I think it's one of those things where like once the ball starts rolling, people are going to feel more like it's sort of a positive feedback kind of thing. If people start doing it and there's a good response to it, people will keep doing it and more people will get on board. Like right now, I think people are jaded. I think people are rightfully not super motivated about the game because like there's people I've seen on Twitter, like some of the people who are kind of like doing some of the hating and the like being kind of nasty to people. A lot of them are actually the same people who used to, like I saw years ago, posting like, hey, this is a really cool thing that you can do, right? And I think a large part of what happens is those players, like, is part of the reason why toxicity exists in... Yeah, it's like a lot of toxicity comes from a place of like and there's like research on like why like especially younger males are like really toxic at times. It's because of like a warped sense of justice, basically. It's like they have this feeling of like, hey, this is really cool, and then they get negative response to it, and then it's like that kind of turns what used to be their passion for the game into fuck people, fuck the people who are, they sort of, it's sort of embodied, like other people sort of embody the people who called them shit, back in the day, right?
Yeah.
But I think, anyway, that's basically just a little bit of a tangent. But the point being that I think a lot of the players even the players who are nasty at the moment, like some people are beyond any kind of help, but like I think a lot of players just genuinely, if they don't like the game now, they used to before, they want to like the game again.
Yeah, there's
and for whatever reason they
can't. In their soul that wants to be revived.
And it's like, I think if we start making the effort, I think we can get somewhere with it. Okay. And yes, the community's small, but I think that's even more reason why we need to do it, is because we need to basically bring in as many people as we can.
Yeah. Okay.
For the longest time, there's been this idea that tournaments bring in new players, and they just fucking don't. Tournaments are like a spectacle, but then the players have to come in through from the bottom up, right? And if there's no resources or anything like that, then anyone who
they feel like they're unmotivated to grind because it's so hard, right? I mean, Splatoon is a hard game, so people are
So yeah, it's that's basically like the reason why I'm optimistic, is because I think once it starts happening, once people are sort of on board with the idea of sharing information, sharing knowledge, whatever, if that can become the norm and people can like see that, hey, this is actually really cool and people are getting good attention for it. What I'd really like to see, like, people have said the whole content thing for ages, and I think the thing that they miss is that it's not just about putting content out. You have to actually like understand how to market that content and get people actually watching it, because people are going to put out a video and it's going to get like 500 views and going to be like, wow, that sucks, and then they're just not going to do it again, right? Like it's not enough to just put content out, but at the same time, like all of this goes back to, we need to be inclusive, right? Like we need to make it so that whatever ends up happening, whether we go zones only or whether we go all modes or whatever, that we actually get the most out of that we can. And I think regardless, I think we can both agree that that's not happening at the moment, and that needs to change if nothing else.
Yep. Again, like for zones only, I just thought like people could play what they want on the mode, so everyone can play zones, right? Everyone can do that. Everyone can paint. It's just simple, right? And that's why I wanted zones only, because I was like, this is simple. This is Splatoon. This is fundamentals. You can do it, right? Like everyone can. And other modes, TC, Rainmaker, Clan, is just way. It's not like it's harder to understand. It's not harder to master, because like, you know, zones has been pushed so much. You know, it's so hard to win against like top level players. But you know, the mode fundamental is just way easier to understand, I think, as like a newcomer. And like that's why I think also in Japan people are pushing zones, as you said. And I think, you know, if our community doesn't put out content, maybe, you know, Japan does in zones, and they don't really do much in TC, for example, Japan. So it's also just easier to approach zones because Japan is actually putting out content on it, I think. Like, I mean, tournaments at least. Or Tough War, but I mean, as we said, it's the last scope.
Yeah, Tough is, I think, something for like.
Yeah,
we can maybe try. Yeah, give it a couple of years. Maybe we can try and
we just need someone to understand the whole value of it. But I mean, you need to play it to understand.
You need to actually be forced to compete in it and like actually be like, how the fuck do I win on this stupid mode? Oh, that's how you win on this mode. Oh, it's actually not quite so simple as just winning the last 30 seconds.
I always say like I've hated the mode for so long until I played it and had to master it, and then I fucking loved it. But you know, I can't really force people. But yeah, back to the thread. You know, you're saying something that I agree with, and again, like. Why did I see multiple teams in top 8 failing horribly at the most basic part of zones? And I just agree. Like, I mean, I think you can like argue against yourself. I mean, not really. Like, I don't know how to say this, but basically, we suck at zones because we're playing all 4 modes basically. So I think if we play only zones, then we get better at zones, right?
Yeah, like my point with that was like, okay, that's something really basic, and we already do focus zones as it is.
Mm-hmm.
And as we've said, that's sort of a half measure, and that's part of the reason it doesn't work. But it's like my point in that was less like we suck at zones, so we should play more of it, and more we've played so much zones, and yet teams don't know how to do like the main thing that you do on a retake, which is paint the zone.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, there's some work to be done in zones as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure, but I think individual players have gotten better at zones. I just feel like in teams, people play with their teams when tournaments are coming up, and tournaments are still almost even though zones favored, you know, in scrims you still play all 4, and I feel like people also I don't think, you know, people don't watch Caution, they don't watch Era Cup either. You know, it's still like they don't really care that much about the game again. So I feel like people, like teams, top players, right? They don't really understand what's going on even then. So, you know, in zones they will suck because they don't know how to approach it, and then the people will watch it and will be like, "Oh, dude, this mode sucks," and you know, and no, that's not true. We just suck as well at it. Like, trust me. And that's my whole thing about it. But yeah.
Yeah, no, it's and again, like I'm not trying to like, I didn't name those the players in question for a reason. Like, I'm not trying to shit on them. I'm basically just saying, like, there's a lot of barriers, and if people, like, you can't have it both ways in terms of, and I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about, like, people in the competitive scene in general. Like, you can't have it both ways in terms of, like, complaining about having to do other modes and then also being shit at zones, right?
Mhm.
Like, for the longest time, this is why I brought the map list up as well, is because, like, some of the people, I remember in Splat 2, some of the people who were most vocal about the map list thing were, like, when they did try and sit down and figure out a map, they weren't very good at that either. So it's like, okay,
They're
I
complaining, but
understand,
they're not fixing
like,
anything, right?
yeah, like, I understand the point, right? Like, and like I've said here, like, I've agreed with most of the shit that you're saying, and I agree with the idea that yes, there is benefit in doing, like, zones only in a certain way, at least. But I think you can't, like, if you're gonna ban a map, you need to understand why the map needs to be banned, and you need to be able to communicate that well, like, and succinctly as well. Not like, no, this map is shit because the tower path moves like this, and that means that that your defense is basically cooked no matter what,
Yeah.
and, like, there's only 2 actual points where you defend.
That's
It's not a good tower control mode.
Yep.
Like, you need to be able to put it like that in those kinds of words.
That's very funny because, you know, when Humpback was released back on S3, people were like wilding on Twitter. They were like, "Oh no, dude, people are gonna spam missiles. They're gonna spam like LDE triple bombs and something." And I was like, "Dude, it's not S2 anymore. It doesn't happen that way anymore." And
Yeah.
people, and then the map release and everything was fine, obviously. And I was like, dude, why are people like every map? People are like this, everything, and I'm so confused. Mincemeat was another one at the start of S2, S3. The map was immediately banned. Everything you mentioned Mincemeat. Oh no, this is bad. This is bad. The map got reworked, and people are still like kind of weird about it. They didn't touch it, but they're still, oh no, Mincemeat, dude, this is bad. This is bad. And the map has been fine ever since, And I think that's like one of the issues.
I think I'd still say you don't want to play clams on Mincemeat, and I don't think you really want to play Rainmaker on Mincemeat.
I was
TC's.
I was just
It's kind of okay. Yeah. I mean, it's always like, and that's the other reason why it's important to have that kind of clear explanation, because then when something changes, it's easy to then say, okay, this part of the map has changed. Is that good enough to then consider playing the map more? Right? Like with Mahi, if people were able to explain clearly why Mahi Zones was shit, like I could for example say, like, okay, well, with zones you typically need to have like the zone itself and then a meaningful amount of space around the zone, and then ideally a bit of extra space around that, right? Like, so you've got the zone, the perimeter, the outskirts. You need to have that kind of thing to fully enable the game to be played, and if you can't, like with Mahi for example, there wasn't really any kind of perimeter to the zone. It was just the zone, and that's it.
Yeah. Sure.
And they've added that, so it's like, okay, that has changed. Like, I have said what the problem was, and now they have changed what I said the problem. Like the map has been changed in a way that affects what I said.
Kind of fixed it, yeah.
So, and I think that's the same for anyone who's going to say, like, fuck all the other modes, whatever. If you can't explain why, then it's not productive, right? I think that's
I didn't explain myself on my general thing, which is why I'm doing it now, and I feel like I'm making good points. Like personally, I feel like I'm I'm agreeing with myself, right? Like
it's like, and this is, I think this is like why this discussion is so important, right? Like, whether we're like agreeing or not, it's really fucking important for people to understand that, like, disagreements are not something that you cause drama with.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It's just like, everyone, generally speaking, wants the same thing, which is for the game to be fun and good, and for there to be good games.
Exactly. I want us to enjoy our time, and I just personally, in my opinion, I just feel like I I don't think it's enjoyable to play all 4 modes, and that's just my opinion, right? But
Yeah.
again, people are different sometimes.
Yeah. So like, I think and it's like, and that's sort of why, like I've kind of always resisted this sort of push for zones only, right? Is because I think I can understand why, right? Because obviously I've watched a whole fuck ton of games, mainly in Splat 2. I haven't done it quite as much in this game. But I've watched a fuck ton of games. I understand how the modes work. I understand why people might want zones only. I understand, like, why people might dislike the other modes. And what I want to see, and from other people, not just you, right? What I want to see from other people is the same kind of stuff that we're doing now, right? Why do you dislike the other modes? Why do you like the other modes? And don't just be like, oh, zones are so stally. Like, okay, think about that. Like, understand, like, why do you think zones is like that? Like, can you actually put something forward? Because otherwise we're not going to get anywhere, and that's why these discussions have been floating around for fucking 7 years, is because that's all the discourse ever is. And obviously that's just Twitter. But, like,
because it has to come from, like, a lot of different people for it to, work. Like, I know, Fuzzy, I mentioned people being for zones only before me, and I think, like, Fuzzy was, like, the one that introduced me to zones only on the S1 in Japanese games. And he's been saying zones only for years, and nothing really changed. So I never really said anything myself, because I was like, if Fuzzy didn't manage to, have people do zones only, I was like, why are people gonna listen to me? Which, like, I tweeted, and, like, some top players, like, just kind of joked about it and didn't really contribute to anything, which, was pretty disappointing. Like,
it's always frustrating.
You're literally, like, I think 1, 2, 3 people really answered me, like, seriously, in, like, all of the interactions, like, including you, which is, like, kind of telling. But like, I just feel like we both of us, like, we're getting somewhere, right? Like, I'm hearing your points, but I feel like, as you said, there needs to be more effort into the discussion. And I've had a discussion with Kara, and I feel like it's going well. Like, we talked about like the maps and modes, etc. I feel like it's just pretty good. But
yeah, and like, that's sort of, I think, one of the reasons why there's so much resistance to these kinds of things is because when there is discussions, only over a couple of people. So when it's like a couple of top players coming forward saying, like, we need to get rid of this map or whatever, it always sort of feels to other people like, top players are just lording their opinions over everyone else. And it's like, no.
I'm down to hear people's opinion, but I feel like people are just misinformed. Like,
of course, right? Like, and that's something else that the people need to understand is, like, there's a very big difference between being wrong and being misinformed, right? Like, if you're misinformed, but you're saying something that makes sense, given the information you have, you're not wrong.
It's okay if you're misinformed. Just just listen to listen to us, maybe.
Like, this isn't fucking grade school where you're doing a test and you get a right or wrong answer. No. Like, this is the real world. We have discussions, and like, there's information that you may or may not have, and you share that information to fix your fucking perspectives, which is what university is supposed to teach people. But anyway, but yeah, without going on to that tangent too much, like, what people, especially like mid and low level players, need to understand is that top players, it's not top players like wanting this for everything, right? It's top players saying, as a top player, I have such and such problem with this, and then
I just want to fix it.
It's just like, it's just a perspective. You can share your perspective as well, as long as you can, like, put things into words that make sense. So it's like obviously it's just the two of us having this discussion, but and you've mentioned Shara as well, and obviously Fuzzy. But, like, there's no reason why we can't have 100 people, like, with good points to make. And obviously at some point you'd run out of points to make if you have 100 people, but, like, there's no reason we can't have an engaged and interested competitive community who actually cares about the game.
Yes.
As opposed to, as opposed to sort of clout farming and all that sort of shit, right?
Yeah.
And
because
I think
we can make our rules ourselves, so we have to seize that opportunity, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like, I basically all I want to see out of this discussion and just in general is like, whatever we do, whether it's zones only or not, like, I want us to try and push what we do to as far as we can.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. That's always been the thing I've wanted to see in terms of like that's why I do the sort of competitive analysis and all that sort of stuff, is because I want to see what people can do with the game. Right. Like,
True.
I'm not in a position where I can dedicate the time and whatever to do it myself. Right. All I can do is watch the games, share my thoughts, all that sort of stuff. Like, my fucking eyes don't work right, my wrists don't work right, I'm fucked, I'm cooked. I am not a competitive player, and I don't think I ever will be. But I can at least, try and teach people what I know. Right?
And there was this TC tournament, like start of S3, and that kind of adds to your point, like, people don't experiment, or they don't even care, because there was this TC tournament and the people won with like triple blaster in TC tournament, and people on Twitter were like wilding. They were like, "Oh, dude, blaster won in TC! Like, what the fuck?" And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like,
yeah,
like, come on, bro. And everyone, like, including like top players, etc., like they were all like, "Oh my god, blaster won! How is it possible, bro?" Etc. Etc. I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, so I just had a question in chat. So Legend Hoa has asked, I wonder what the end goal is. Is it to make it more fun? Is it to get more people into comp? Is it to make players more competitive in comparison to Japan? And I would say the answer to that is basically all three of those.
Yeah, it's all of them.
Like, it's like they're all the same thing, right? Like, if you have a more inclusive community, there are more players, which means that more good players.
If people get better, they will have fun.
The average level of the game goes up. As you understand more, you enjoy the game more. You have like more players to play against, more players to play with. You're exposed to a broader range of perspectives and opinions and all that sort of stuff. So you naturally develop a tolerance for other people. So you aren't just in your own little friend group and basically spending all your day talking shit about other people. Then naturally that leads to, like, we would need resources to sort of push that forward. But once we have those resources, then other people will be better equipped to make more resources. So things kind of grow on themselves. It's something where, like, and then in terms of fighting Japan, I don't even care that much about Japan. Like, who gives a Japan is basically like the Japanese scene. Like, you watch a Zone Cup, if Melon's team isn't playing in it, it's basically just people, like, hell, even when Melon's playing in it, it's like the teams in Zone Cup are not like organized teams who are going super try-hard. They're people who are in like a Discord server that's based on like a... Yeah, and it's just like one guy just pings, "Hey, I want like an NZAP, a charger, and a fucking..." And that's literally all it is. Yeah. They are actually just fucking, like, they're not trolling. They're just having fun.
They don't have strategy. They don't have like anything like really prepared. Like, I think the only thing they're really like trying for is caution. But other than that, they're just playing the game normally, right?
They're just playing the fucking game. And like, we're still losing to that, but it's like, who cares if we're losing to it? The problem is that we like that.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point in the thread, right? Like, all those players who you personally watch make the same mistakes day in, day out will suddenly become interested in learning the game at a deeper level. And I'm like, probably, yeah, to a certain extent. I feel like if people only played like one mode, like, they will probably be more interested in playing the correct way, right? Especially in zones where I feel like you can manipulate the game the way you want to be. You want to, how can I say that? You can manipulate the game the way you want it to be, you know? I feel like in zones that's like more the case than, the modes.
Yeah.
And
See,
yeah.
I think, and obviously we've already sort of touched on this, but like, and that's where sort of I'm thinking, no, I think you can manipulate the game
Mhm.
just as much, if not more, in the other modes. But I wanted to ask, because we've got a question. I've got a question from Ziff, who's hang on, I got to actually understand this question first. Can you ask Gray who he's trying to talk to right now? To like, what part of the scene is he addressing most directly? Like, I think he's asking, like, are you like who are you trying to get to change everything to zones only? Like, is it? I think he's meaning like which tournament organizers and whatnot.
Oh, which tournament? I don't really know. I mean, like tournament organizers. I didn't really think about that when I tweeted it.
Oh, like what level? What level of play?
To be fair, like I truly think it would be better for like literally any skill level to do zones only, like newcomers, mid-level, top players. And again, like when I play, I only play like top level scrims. I don't really play like mid-level or low level. I don't really spectate them either. And everyone, again, like we said it at the start of the stream, but everyone I played against, they only play zones. They only play zones. But in tournaments, people want to do all modes. Why? And I've never gotten an answer from these players. Never. Like they're just saying, oh, because we have to do all modes because this is in the tournament. But then we don't have to make these tournaments that way. Like, why are we griefing ourselves like mentally and like, skillfully, right? So I think I'm addressing it to just like the players, like even though you're like div 8, div 10, div 20 or div 1, like I feel like, you know, I feel like making zones only, or zones favored, it's probably the way to go for me again. And then you can extend yourself to the other modes. Like you should try to learn the game, appreciate the game for zones, then you can try to touch another modes. That's just my opinion. But
and my thought on that is basically like, yes, and with particular emphasis on eventually going to all modes. Like, I think I think it should be very, very clear
into it, right?
to people.
People are born into all modes anyway. I'm never gonna be able to change that. So I'm fine accepting that we want to do all modes, sure, but I want us to push that, and I want us to learn how to play the game, because, like you're saying in the thread, like, we lose to Japan in other modes. Like, surely, yeah, like they're just better players anyway, right? They don't play the mode, but they're just better because Splat teaches you about the game overall, right? It just teaches you the game. If you just play Rainmaker only and you go to zones, you're gonna get fucked, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen anyone do that, but if you play zones and then you just play TC Rainmaker, then you might, you still know how to play Splatoon, right? But I don't, yeah. That's why we still lose to them, I think.
I like how I can't turn these ad breaks off, but like I like how at the end of the ad break, the little thing in my chat says like, "Your community is back." And it's like, thanks for returning my viewers to me after you've held them fucking hostage. So Ziff has followed up. The gap. Hang on. Again, I have to interpret this. The gap is that the people playing zones only is only the people in +1 and near the top of +2. But those are not the people who end up playing in most tournaments, so there's a big disconnect. Right, so yeah, like he's basically saying like, okay, so top players don't play in the majority of tournaments, the majority of tournaments, of course, being like low ink or like sort of mid-level sort of stuff. Yeah. Like even that tournament yesterday, the Sendo Picnic or whatever, it was like, wasn't it basically just AR in terms of top teams? Because I saw you guys playing against...
In terms of teams, yeah, I think it was just a bunch of pickups then.
Yeah.
Still good players, but just pickups.
Yeah, and I mean, hell, I would say I would answer that question as like, well, that's kind of the point, is that the people who play in tournaments don't have a enough sort of organization because they're mostly pickups or just like new teams or whatever. to properly play the other modes. So those are the exact kinds of people who should be playing, who would be better served playing zones only. Like what we want, I think what both of us want is for new players, sorry, not new players, but like those kinds of players to make more good teams, right?
Yeah, and
Like
these people that are playing, you know, like low ink and stuff like that, you know, if they want to play old modes, then like that's sure, you know, like I don't even think like they know the modes are bad. Like they don't play the game, like they don't make, for example, they don't make Rainmaker Stolfest, you know, they don't make it that way. They don't make TC
yeah,
seem
they're
like
all
snowbally. So
yeah, like the game's very different when the Rainmaker is perfectly willing to just run forwards.
exactly.
Right? Like,
So I'm like,
yeah.
you know, if these people want to play all modes, then sure. Like personally, I just don't play in these tournaments. I only spoke from my point of view, which is like very selfish to do, actually.
No, I mean
But,
like that's what it is, right? Like you're just sharing your perspective, and that's what people have to understand.
yeah.
Another thing, this was a little while ago, but Gus was mentioned that he's been talking to Spoon, like from Black and Spoon.
Oh yeah.
And he was asking if there's if you feel like there's sort of an issue here where because there aren't that many, like there aren't any dedicated orgs that do top level tournaments anymore. Like there's, I think the closest, like Dapple Productions maybe does stuff, but I think they're mostly mid level as well.
Yeah, they do stuff sometimes. They do padding pool, I think, which is like
Yeah.
Any skill level pretty much, but yeah.
But yeah, it's like is it like is part of this like a lack of consistent tournaments from like high level orgs and that kind of thing? Like, do you, or rather, maybe I'll put it this way: do you feel as though part of the issue with the whole zones only thing is that there aren't enough tournaments that make top players actually sort of want to really push the game?
Probably, and I mean that's another issue. I mean, people are, you know, it's Splatoon. It's kind of funny to say, but I feel like people are just playing for money. Like I feel like our top players aren't really enjoying the game, pretty much. And
Right.
I feel like people, you know, that's kind of maybe that's not true. Maybe I'm lying completely, etc. That's my feeling, right? I feel like
I've had the same feeling.
Yeah, people aren't pushing the game because they don't enjoy it. They are then only playing for money, and money tournaments are all modes because it's only like majors, you know, like stuff like that. It's all modes, so they don't fucking give a shit about anything. They're just playing tournaments. They're just playing for money. They're just playing. They're not. I don't know. They're not having any passion, which is sad. But I think that's kind of what's happening right now.
Yeah,
I don't know if
like
I
I said
answered
before,
the question or anything, but
yeah, I think, yeah, I mean that's I would agree with that. Like that was sort of where I would have gone with that question as well, because it's like I think a lot of these players, again, I don't think they are like they wouldn't be playing the game at this level if they didn't originally like it. You know?
yeah,
like nobody started playing Splatoon to chase the fucking bag. That's insane.
Exactly. I think they liked it at some
holy
point.
Shit.
I think they liked it at some point, and then now they're top players, and they're just, you know, they will never be bad because, you know, it's Splatoon is like a lot of fundamentals, and people, I mean, it's a small scene again, so, you know, not a lot of competition to steal like your spot as like a top player, and they're just, you know, they're just doing the bare minimum to be afloat, but they're not really pushing anything. And then, you know, it's like they don't really care about zones only. They don't really care about anything. So
yeah. Someone in my chat, bear underscore SPL, is asking like, how do you go about understanding the modes at a deeper level? And that's sort of like, if you want to do that yourself without needing like resources and whatever, you actually need to be willing to sit down and the like you need to be willing to throw away like your base assumptions, right? Like you can't be just going and looking at a VOD view and saying like, oh, if only I'd won that fight or whatever. You need to be thinking about like why this fight mattered the way it did. Like if I hadn't died here, like what did my death here have cause like later on in the game? it's not an easy thing to do, and it's something where you need to put in a lot of time and effort into like testing your assumptions and all that sort of stuff.
Also, to add to
Like-
that, people, the original question was like, how did you understand these modes, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, people like these people, they're probably just, if they're watching any tournaments at all, they're probably just watching Western tournaments. They're just watching them, and again, like we said at the start of the stream, we kind of suck at those. And I feel like if you want to understand these modes, personally, I feel like I understood like 95% of modes just watching Japanese players play them. Like when I play them, I was like, dude, I keep doing that, and then it doesn't work, and then I watched, the Rainmaker tournaments with crewmen and stuff, and it was like, dude, what the fuck? That's how they play the mode? I've been doing it wrong for like 5 years. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
For
and
5
that's,
years.
that's the other thing. That's the other thing too, is you don't like watch the game and then just do what they do.
Yeah.
Right? Like you watch the game and you see what's going on. Like this is the thing I've been doing, right?
Yeah, you just adapt to your needs.
Yeah, like I talk about Japan a lot because it's like you watch Japan and it's like, okay, there's all these interesting things happening where we don't actually get to see this much in
they're
West.
the best. It happens in every game.
And it's
You
like,
just watch the best. Yeah, that's what it is. Like,
yeah, and it's like you don't copy them. You look at what they're doing and you
Mhm.
see, because
Yep.
they're gonna do shit that doesn't necessarily work either, right?
Sure,
So
yeah.
as the second like community, and this is true of like when you're the second place team or whatever as well. It's the same thing. You get the opportunity to look at the best teams, figure out what makes them good, and then figure out the shit that they're still doing wrong as well, right? Like you actually get the opportunity to kind of
Exactly, yeah. To grow up.
figure out to take the lessons that they've already learned and then learn your own lessons on top of that, right? Which is sort of what I've been doing for the last few years, and that's why I'm in the position I'm in, right? And I suspect from what you've been saying in terms of like understanding like Japanese players and all that sort of stuff, that's probably why I see the same sort of shit when I see you guys, when I see you play the game, right? It's like you get to take you're always going to be stealing ideas from other people, and then you just do them better, right? It's like the iPhone.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But I don't know. It's just like a way of thinking, and personally, again, like Rainmaker, biggest example for me. Like I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like I've been playing this game mode for like years, practicing this mode like endlessly, also hating myself. Like meanwhile, like just fucking playing Rainmaker. Then I watch crewmen play, and I'm like, wow, this guy is just insane, right? Like they're just playing the game way different than us. They're playing the same game, but they're just not playing it the same way. They're not approaching it the same way. And I was like, damn, that's insane. And obviously, like I was the only one watching it, so when I tell to my team to do that, like they can't replicate. We can't replicate because it's like a whole flow, right? Like you need all 4 players to be like on the same board. But you can still, as FLC said, you can still take some ideas and try to adapt to your needs, or try to shape it.
Yeah. But no, it's like the and something I think people need to understand here is this is why the intuitive thing is the intuitive stuff that I was talking about before is important. If you just learn the game with nothing but your own gameplay, like all you do is play the game and you learn from that, you're only ever going to be able to take like incremental steps, right? There is a skill set that you can sort of acquire where you can learn the game by playing the game, but just you steal shit from other people you play against. But for the most part, like if you're just practicing the game, you're only ever going to incrementally improve, right? So you're going to be doing the same thing just slightly better. And so watching other players, right, is how you and watching other players and just being exposed to something completely different, someone who has like players who have learned the game in a completely different way, can help you to like shift where you're like, instead of just growing incrementally, you're suddenly incorporating other ideas that have grown naturally themselves. You always need that to have like a healthy approach to the game, because otherwise you're basically a one-trick pony, right? like people will say like, oh, you know, I one trick 52 or whatever. But like you can also one trick a playstyle. Like you only play, like you can play 3 different weapons, but you play them all the same way. Like, and this it's always funny watching like long range players, like they play E-liter and then they play ballpoint like an E-liter, and then they play Explorer. Nobody does that, but like they play pencil like an E-liter. They play like what's another long range weapon?
Hydra.
Even like Squeezer. Well, nobody plays Hydra. Like that's
True,
sort of the issue. Like they pick up Squeezer and like or Nautilus or something. They try to play like mid range, and they play it like an E-liter, and it's like, yeah, no, like you have to incorporate other ideas. Right?
Yep. And that's kind of another thing when you said like, you know, we keep like, you know, we play all modes and we keep losing to Japanese players anyway, and I'm kind of thinking like reverse way, right? Like we keep losing to them, so just why not change things, right? So I think like the final thing to say overall is we're not, you know, we're stuck. I feel like as a community we're stuck. We need to change something, and it's, you know, it's gonna take a lot of things. It's maybe not gonna happen. Like it needs to take more than both of us, right, to do something. But overall, I feel like we've made some great points overall. I feel like actually we cannot agree with each other's. It's just like
I think
I'm more pessimistic because I'm a player and I've been like literally in the scene, and I feel like I've just, you know, been disappointed a lot by the players or just like the community in general. But
and
whereas like, you know, some people like Fuzzy, like, you know, like they've just given up on it, kind of like they're just not in the community anymore, so like they just don't really care anymore. But I'm still there, and I still kind of have to care because it's also like me that I'm concerned.
Yeah, and of course my sort of optimism comes from the fact that at the end of the day I am trying to teach people, and if I'm not,
sure.
at least if I'm like teaching people, and then I'm also like, nah, these fuckers these fuckers are never gonna learn a fucking thing. It's like, well, what the fuck am I doing?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's, but yeah, like you said, I think we agree on a lot of things, and that's sort of like I could sort of just from the discussion that's been going on for years and years, like I think a lot of people agree more than they think they do. Like it's not an us versus them thing as much as modern political discourse may convince us that everything is. It's not an us versus them thing. It's like the entire community is like, we are all in this together. Okay, we all want the same, broadly the same thing.
Yeah, we all want to enjoy the game, like purely.
Right. So what I like. So my thing, like taking away from this discussion, which I'm very glad we've done this, is not that, oh hey, FLC and Grey agree, therefore, you know, zones only.
Yeah. No, that's not the point.
We need to be talking like this more often. We need to be having actual discussions where we put everything on the table, we see what we agree on, we see what we disagree on, and we understand why we're disagreeing. Like,
yeah, it's not only top minds, right? It can be like anyone really arguing, as long as there's like a subject, like, you know, like as long as there's like some I don't know the words, but as long as you have some thought process, right? You're not just like, oh no, bro, all modes suck, or zones suck, bro. Like, no, we need to be constructive, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So like, all in all, like I'm very happy with, like, and that was sort of like, on one hand I was like a bit exasperated because it's like, oh fuck, this fucking discussion's coming up again. But then at the same time, like, hang on a minute, we actually are going to discuss this now instead of taking shots on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't like. I tweeted it. I didn't think like I thought I would get like 2 likes and like 2 DMs like telling me to fuck off, you know. But people interacted, and I was like, dude, okay. Like people interacted, so I'm not gonna just, you know, let it sink. Like I actually wanna push it, like, and see, like, you know, what people are like thinking about it. So yeah, like for example, you, like, I've known, I know like you're like actually like devoted to the community, so I was like, okay, you're just not gonna try to, you know, meme on me or whatever. So I was like, okay, that's gonna be pretty interesting. So
yeah, all right. I mean, I was half expecting this would go for like literally 4 hours or some shit. We'd just be talking in circles, but we've.
No, I think we went over like everything pretty much. I may have forgotten some things, but I feel
yeah,
like
but I mean
we're
that's
pretty clear.
yeah. I think I'm quite happy with leaving it there. If like there's I think at the end of the day, like as I've said repeatedly, like we want what's best. Like we aren't trying to lord this over people. Like I'm not trying to lord my opinions over the competitive scene, and I know that you guys, like you and the competitive scene, are not trying to lord your opinions over more casual players. It's not. We're not trying to like say like this is the one, the only way to play the game.
And again, we don't have to lock ourselves into zones only or all modes or anything.
And
we can't change.
And it's
like,
critical that we don't. It's critical that we don't.
Yeah.
It's critical that we don't.
It's the same for maps. We don't have to say, oh, mincemeat, okay, this map is banned for life. No, we can chill, like 1 week we can try, 1 week we can ban it, we can change things. We should try to, like same for modes.
And I think it's really important that we do that, because otherwise we're just going to be sort of in the same, like that's why people are feeling stagnant, is because things have stagnated. Like we're at a point where we're sort of trying to do 17 million different things because we're all like stuck. We need to do all zones, but then like that's the end goal, not the immediate goal, right? Mm-hmm. Like we can work towards like all modes. We can and then once we have worked towards all modes, then we may discover at the end of the day TC's actually shit, we should never play it. But we can only do that after we have actually played TC and pushed it to a point where we know that it's shit. At the moment, it's us who's shit. Like, it's not the mode's fault that we can't fucking, handle the mode. And like, and for those of you who really don't like TC or really don't like Rainmaker, then fucking show us why it's bad, right? Like, make a strategy, make a team, and fuck the mode over so badly that nobody ever wants to play it again.
That's what we tried to do yesterday with TC Mahi, for instance, or like today we played a scrim, we played like triple blaster, for example, and we won against like a top player. Like this is just like show us, like we need to show people like if it's true or maybe like TC is actually good, and then you can play around it, like.
Yeah, and it's like. And again, like, you're going to use triple blaster, and then maybe it catches the enemy team off, and it's like that's not the end of the fucking conversation, right? Like, grow from it. They have to figure something out too. Like that's the whole thing that we're missing at the moment, right? because we're not like actually figuring out
shot machine charger and then calling it a day. That's the fucking issue. That's the vicious circle I was talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So. Yeah, like it's critical that we understand that, like, if we do play zones only, it's not a permanent thing, and it's not that we're discarding all the other modes. It's that we're starting with zones only, right?
It's show our culture that we can, anyway. It's our culture to play all modes. I mean, we're never gonna erase it, right? I don't mind it. I just want us to, as you said, I want us to grow. I want us to be better. And then the game is going to be more fun and more rewarding and more challenging as well.
Mm-hmm. And so I mean, I'm like I said, like it's really important that we whatever we do it the right way, right? So yeah, I mean, that's I think everything that I was gonna talk about. I might answer a couple of the questions because my chat's been throwing stuff at me. I might just answer some of those.
Yeah, I mean, that's fun. Anyway, like the whole thing about, like, I think we can like summarize our thing pretty much. We need to try things instead of just being stuck doing the same thing over and over, which hasn't been working. That's it.
Yeah, we need a vision. We need a vision for what we actually want to do as a community, and the people like TOs, people like top players who, or just people who are influential in the scene need to be willing to share that vision and
because
consider that.
The only thing that's been tried, it's zones only with like Sendu's tournament, in the zone, which has always worked, always, even though no money, even though no like official streams, always worked, right? But people have been arguing about like, oh, only Clamblitz, but people never tried it. So I was like, dude, you guys all love Clamblitz, but you guys aren't showing it. So like, what's happening? And nothing ever happened, but except like Mode Scout, which was like something totally different. But yeah.
Yeah, I think my
even if we try something and it's absolutely shit, then okay, now we know it's okay, no problem.
I think just to sort of cap it out with a bit of an anecdote, I think my very first tweet when I first made my account was something to the effect of like it was the same shit, right? Like I literally made my Twitter account because people were talking about shit on Twitter, like the community has all these problems and whatever. And my first tweet when I was a lot younger and a lot more aggressive with my wording was basically stop fucking around and do something.
Yeah,
like so. And I think for what it's worth,
and not do anything.
For what it's worth, I think this might be like there have been discussions of this nature before, but generally it's been like a lot more. I think people are too willing, even in these discussions. Yeah, it's sort of like in the past. I think these discussions have been like too sort of. People have been too hedgy, I suppose. Like they're too. They're trying to like please everyone still in these discussions. They're saying things without, and they're thinking like, shit, I don't want to say too much because then people get mad or whatever. And I think that's sort of where a lot of these discussions have fallen short in the past. And I hope that today and I hope, I hope people who've been listening to this have been able to actually take something from it. And like it's like I said in the reply when you said like, hey, we should talk about this. It's like I said there, like I don't expect people to change their minds just for a couple of tweets, or even a discussion like this. I don't expect people to like completely change their views on things, right?
Yeah, I feel like we can just grow from that, like just slowly but surely. Like we have time, so no problem. Yeah,
I mean, fucking let's like. The cool thing about Splatoon 3 is that it's shit, but there's a new mode. A new system coming out, right? So we're probably going to get a Splatoon 4, and maybe, fingers crossed, maximum copium. Like maybe that will fix a lot of the problems that we have in this game, right? And we can do like a lot of, and even if that doesn't, like, yeah, it's like we've got to be more open with each other about what we think. And we've got to be more accepting of disagreements and understanding why those disagreements happen, and be more willing to consider the fact that other people also want the same thing as us. They just have a different perspective.
Sure, yeah. And I mean, that's why all the guys that commented on my tweets saying like literally like ignoring stuff, right? I didn't really reply because I was like, yeah,
it's like you don't even bother.
Yeah,
right?
you just don't know like that. It's not you being like stupid. You're just misinformed or you don't know anything, which is like okay, but like people aren't against it. They just don't know what to think or what to say, right? Which is again fine, but
yeah, but and that's why those of us who have been around for longer and have more experience need to be like willing to share that experience, and those who haven't been around for quite as long, it's not that we're lording that experience over you. It's just like, hey, we've been here before. Like this is not a new problem. These are not new problems that we're having. These are not new discussions. They're the same discussions we've always had. We just need to stop circling the point and taking shots at each other and actually put everything out on the table. And I think we've done that here today. And for that, I'm very grateful to you for making this happen, and also the time that you've.
I mean, for you too.
I know Yeah, it's starting to. I'm assuming it's like what 1 a.m. for you at the moment.
It is,
so
yeah. It's
getting a bit late. But yeah, no, I'm very very glad that to have done this. So
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, yeah, maybe next time we can talk about why turf war is like goated. But maybe that's gonna be in like 2030, maybe. On Starter 5.
yeah. That's episode 2 is going to be in 2030. We got a 5-year wait. That's a 7-year wait. Anyway, yeah.
All right. Well,
All right.
I'll let you live your Monday, and
Yep.
I'll go to sleep for my Monday tomorrow.
Yes. And yeah, thanks again for coming on. And
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I guess we can leave it there.
Yep. All right.
So, cheers.
Cut my stream. Cheers.